All right, folks, it's time for another edition of Mullings Music and Memories. You know that we oftentimes talk about things that are going on around the world and things that folks might be interested in and concerned about. So that is actually what this particular show will be about. We're going to share memories and thoughts and just things that are going on around the world. So definitely, if you've got some comments or you've got some things that you would like to share, we would love to hear those from you as well. So during the course of the show, we'll also bring up some music, we'll bring up some entertainment, and of course, we'll bring up some other things as well, because we do know a number of you are enjoying Labor Day weekend. It is Labor Day weekend. I know some folks are probably sitting over there in a cookout, having a good old time, having some good food, and just some good vibes, because that's oftentimes what the holidays is all about, those good times and those good vibes. So we've got that going on. I'm hoping that some guests will appear during the course of Mullins Music and Memories. So hope that all of you are out there having a grand time and are thinking about a lot of important issues that may be of concern to you and yours. So definitely a number of folks are definitely paying attention to what's going on the political front. We know that there are a lot of folks that are paying attention to what's happening in regards to what's happening in politics. And of course, there are a number of great things that are happening on the political front. And of course, we are in the middle of a campaign season. We're also in the middle of a playoff season of a number of sports. I know that hockey is going on. Also, we've got, of course, basketball, which is what I've been following. And I will be following again this evening, hoping that the team that I'm rooting for, in the sense of the Clippers, can pull off and get ahead as they let Denver knot it up and tie it up, and they're now 1-1. But they are playing today, so we'll see what happens in that game. And then we've also got Toronto and Boston, and I believe that they are knotted at 2 as well. So everybody's tied up except for Milwaukee and Miami, and that's a 3-1 series. Milwaukee did manage to pull out a win and was able to at least hang on temporarily. So we'll see if they just a temporary thing, if they're going to really make it a very competitive series, because they were to win another game, then it'd be 3-2. And even though no team has ever come back from 3-0, then it would be a whole other story if they were able to pull off some kind of miracle, because that would be a true miracle if ever a miracle was had. So we're going to see what happens with that, and if that actually goes on, or what happens with that. So we're going to pay attention to that and see what folks have to say in regards to whether that can happen or not happen. I did see today that that current person that occupies 1600 said that he would support an investigation into allegations leveled against Postmaster General Louis DeJoy. He said that he would support DeJoy's removal if it's proven that he engaged in illegal behavior. The Washington Post reported Sunday that 5 people who worked for New Breed Logistics, where DeJoy was chairman and CEO for 31 years, said they were urged by DeJoy's aides or by Chief Executive himself to write checks and attend fundraisers at his Greensboro mansion. The Post cited 2 employees who said that DeJoy would then have the employees' bonuses raised to help defray the cost of their contributions, which would be illegal. Democrats are calling for an investigation into the Postmaster General, who was under fire for cutbacks to service at the post office. And I know a number of folks are trying to figure out how the post office will pay in terms of what's going on with mail-in voting and things of that nature. The president said he doesn't know much about the story. When asked if he'd support an investigation into the claims, he said sure, adding that he thinks DeJoy is an honest man. If it's proven that he did something illegal, the president said he would support his removal. If something can be proven that he did something wrong, always, the president said, always. They've been looking at me for 4 years. They found nothing. 4 years, think of it, for 4 years. From the day I came down the escalator, I've been under investigation, and this is his quote, by sleaze, and they found nothing. They found nothing. A friend of mine said you have to be the most innocent, honorable man to ever hold the office of president. So that's what he's saying that he would go ahead and do the investigation, but he's also saying that he does not believe that there is anything to be had about the investigation in terms of an actual commitment, or in terms of there actually being anything to be said to that particular story. At least that's what he's claiming. So we'll see if that's the actual case, or if that's just more cases of him saying one thing but actually meaning something else. So only time will tell, and we'll just keep following that news story, just like we're following the elections right here in North Carolina. That's right, the North Carolina elections. North Carolina is definitely a battleground state. There is no doubt about that. That North Carolina is truly a battleground state. So we're going to see how that plays out as well in terms of it being a battleground state, because that race is entering into the home stretch. Well, I guess technically everything is entering into the home stretch as we're now in September, and I think early voting will start in October, and then of course the election is on November 5th. So we're talking less than 2 months away from now. We should have the election, at least in terms of all the votes being cast. Now, how long it takes them to count those votes, that's another question altogether. So that's going to be a very interesting question, and all of that. It says North Carolina officially kicked off the general election on Friday as it became the first state to mail absentee ballots to voters. It's a move that comes on the heels of the president at a campaign stop last week, encouraging North Carolinians to vote by mail and to vote in person. So it sounds like he's actually asking folks to vote twice. So that, of course, is not a thing that we want to be seeing here in our fair state. According to the North Carolina State Board of Elections, state law makes it a Class A felony for a voter with intent to commit a fraud to register or vote at more than one precinct or more than one time in the same primary or election. There are currently more than 7 million registered voters in North Carolina, with more than 400,000 more registered Democrats than Republicans. And to date, the state has received more than 600,000 absentee ballot requests ahead of the general election, 16 times as many as the 38,871 requests submitted at the same time in 2016. Democrats with more than 300,000 absentee ballot requests have 3 times as many as Republicans. So definitely we know a number of this has to do with the fact of the pandemic. The stakes are high in North Carolina this cycle. The 2020 CBS News election battleground tracker calls the state a toss-up for the presidential election, and there's also a competitive Senate race in the state that is crucial for Democrats' ambitions to flip that chamber. So a lot is going to definitely be playing here in our state of North Carolina. But in the era of coronavirus, when the responsibility of a governor has been elevated, and the gubernatorial race has many similarities to the presidential contest, both Trump and Lieutenant Governor Dan Forest have pointed to a restless economy when talking about COVID-19, urging for businesses and schools to fully open, whereas Biden and incumbent Governor Roy Cooper have looked to medical expertise as the crux for their coronavirus response. Cooper has slowly loosened restrictions on businesses, in-person gatherings, and schools. In June, he delayed the state's reopening due to an uptick in coronavirus cases and later announced that face masks would be required in public. On Tuesday, Cooper announced the state was entering phase 2.5 and opening playgrounds and gyms at 30% capacity. Bars, movie theaters, and amusement parks remain closed. We can do this safely only if we keep doing what we know works, Cooper said at a news conference. He added that until there's a vaccine, the state will continue to take certain precautions. And he also added that we know that some businesses are still closed and that that people are hurting. And the more we can do to slow the spread of the virus, the faster we can turn this dimmer switch on and let everything open. Nobody likes staying at home, but it's a plan that's based on science and based on the facts and based on numbers, according to Chris Hardy, a Democratic district chair on the coast of the state. You're seeing across the country that governors that have a plan, Republican or Democratic side, are perceived better. But Forrest and Republicans have criticized Cooper's approach, saying he hasn't set an end goal. The lieutenant governor has long disagreed with Cooper on a number of issues, and some political scientists describe their working relation as frosty, noting that the two had been very much at odds with each other since they were both sworn in 2017. It seems that Forrest has been an outspoken critic of Cooper's reopening approach when it comes to education, calling his suggestion for masks and half days, quote unquote, nonsensical. Cooper's campaign has been quick to point out Forrest's missed attendance at Board of Education meetings. Forrest also filed a lawsuit against Cooper in June, claiming that his coronavirus restrictions violate the state's Emergency Management Act by not getting approval from an executive council, but a state court judge ruled in favor of Cooper and the lawsuit was dropped. So definitely looks like we're in the middle of a very tense political campaign here in North Carolina, and definitely looks like folks are noticing that. Matter of fact, the North Carolina Republican chairman told CBS News, North Carolina is a big state, and we've got 100 counties, and you really do need to be in touch with the people of the state in order to govern them. when all you do is stay in your government compound and hear from your staff and make unilateral decisions, and you don't have transparency in the decision-making process, that's a huge problem. However, he was countered by the state's Democratic Party chair, Wayne Goodwin, who says Cooper's approach shows he's being smart and cares about public safety. Rick Hurtado, a Democratic state house candidate, and said Cooper's leadership is his strongest asset right now, calling Forrest in-person events a slap in the face for North Carolinians. So, like I said, it definitely looks like North Carolina is going to be playing a major part in the elections and in terms of how things are covered with the election. So we're already seeing that, and that's definitely something that is going on right now. So definitely there's a number of issues that folks are paying attention to and that folks are listening to and all of that. So definitely glad to have folks pay attention and all of that. So I've got a person right now asking what we're talking about. Right now, we're talking about politics and things that are going on here in North Carolina. But of course, we're always interested in conversations and things of that nature. So if you've got something that you would like to comment or add to what's being said, then we would love to hear from you as well. Of course, this is IBM.TV, and of course, this is our show that airs on Monday afternoons. Got the wrong day, Monday afternoons, and that is, of course, the show entitled Mullings, Music, and Memories. So, of course, we love sharing comments and hearing from different people and what they've got to say as well. So, definitely, there's a number of things that are going on in the world, and of course, we love to hear from you, our listeners, to hear what you've got to say and what you think about some of the issues that are going on during this time and during these very hard times. So, of course, we would love to hear your comments on a number of world issues or things that you might be interested in talking about, because definitely we do love sharing thoughts with our listeners and finding out what they've got on their mind at the time of the show. So if you've got some comments or something that you would like to share about world happenings, things happening around the world, then we would love to hear from you right here on IBM.TV. So if there's something that you would like to share with us, it doesn't have to be about politics. It can be about sports. It can be about the U.S. Open. It can be your thoughts on the Kentucky Derby. That's right. Authentic won the Kentucky Derby. And now we're going to see if that horse can do better or do as well. Can't do better if you've won it, but we'll see if they can do as well in the next round. So that should be very interesting to see how they do and how that comes along. So that being said, we're going to definitely let folks check out some music. Like I said, this is Mullings and Music and Memories. And of course, we love to share music with you during the show as well. So one of my favorite songs is a song called Born Under a Bad Sign, and that's by Albert King. So I'm going to put that on, let y'all check out Born Under a Bad Sign, and hopefully we'll be having some more comments, and of course we'll have some more music as well. So we're going to give y'all that in just a matter of a minute or two. Hope that y'all will enjoy this particular song. It's a classic, no doubt about that, in the sense of some great blues. So hopefully y'all will enjoy this music that is about to come your way, entitled Born Under a Bad Sign. So I hope that y'all will enjoy this great music that you're about to hear. And like I said, if you've got any comments that you want to share with us, we're always definitely interested in hearing what y'all have to say and what your thoughts are. But right now, we're going to go check out Born Under a Bad Sign by Albert King, which is a classic song in the blues. So, and then I'm going to talk about some other events going on. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about the history of Labor Day, because we are in the middle of Labor Day. So definitely right now, I'm going to let you check out Born Under a Bad Sign. So definitely that's about to come your way very shortly, and I hope that everybody will enjoy what they hear and that they definitely enjoy the music that is about to come their way. So definitely, I think that this is something that y'all will all enjoy, and I'm looking forward to sharing it with you so that you can enjoy this classic blues song by a true legend of the blues, none other than Albert King. So keep that in mind, and like I said, if there's anything that y'all want to share in terms of things that you might want to share with us, then we would love to hear from you about your thoughts around the different issues. But right now, let's check out Born Under a Bad Sign.
Born on a bad sign, for bad luck, you know I wouldn't have no luck at all. Hard luck and trouble been my only friend. I've been on my own ever since I was 10. Born on a bad side. Been down since I began to crawl. If it wasn't for bad luck, you know I wouldn't have no luck at all. I can't read, I didn't know how to write. My whole life has been one big fight. Born on the bad side. I've been down since I began to crawl. If it wasn't for bad luck, I said I wouldn't have no luck at all. That ain't no lie. For bad love, I wouldn't have no kind of love. If it wasn't for real bad love, I wouldn't have no luck at all. You know, wine and women is all I claim. A big red woman gonna carry me to my grave. Born on the bad side. I've been down since I began to crawl. If it wasn't for bad luck, I tell you I wouldn't have no luck at all. Yeah, I'm a bad luck boy. I haven't bad luck all of my days. Yeah.
If my man was wearing this, I would be all over him.
That smells really good.
It smells like my guy's cologne.
Okay.
It smells really good, yeah. Really
good?
sexy. Oh, that smells.
My baby told me not so very long ago. She said, I don't love you, Daddy, and you got to let me go. That was too much for me. That's why I walk the back street and cry. You know it hurt me so bad to hear my baby say goodbye. Another thing she said. She said another reason that made me want to leave. You ain't got enough of nothing to keep me halfway pleased. I tell y'all that was too much for me. That's why I walk the back street and cry. Oh yeah. say you're a good man, baby, to treat me like you do. Oh, yeah. She say you ain't done nothing to me, but I just can't stay here with you. Oh, I stood and watched my baby as far as I could see. You know the girl, she started running. Yes, she did. After waving goodbye to me. I'm here to tell you that was too much for me. I walked the back street to ride. That hurt me so bad. Yes, it did. To hear my baby say goodbye.
All right, folks, music from Albert King and Little Milton. Give you a little flavor of some great sounds and things of that nature. So definitely hope folks are over there enjoying the music that was coming their way. So definitely some great sounds. And I know a lot of folks were probably enjoying what they were hearing. And we're going to keep some things rolling along with some more music later on. But right now we're just going to continue about some of the things that are happening in the world and around the world and just what folks might be interested in learning about. So definitely know that a lot of folks are out there enjoying cookouts and enjoying the weather that is coming their way. It was definitely some very pleasant weather that I was seeing outside. I actually went out there around lunchtime and definitely the weather was very pleasant, and I don't think it was too hot. It might have been a little bit warm, but not I mean, temperature in the 90s. We've been around 60s and 70s, and that is some amazingly good weather. I'm definitely a fan of those kind of temperatures. I have no problem with that in the least bit. Anytime we've got that kind of temperature, I think most of us can enjoy it and can definitely find that to be something that we can get with. So I know a number of folks are trying to figure out when the weather is going to turn more fall-like and continue to stay on the fall-like kind of front. So we're going to see what happens with that, and we'll just continue to see how folks go in that regard. So it ought to be interesting to hear what happens with that and whether folks are glad to see that or what happens in that regard. So definitely, I know a lot of folks are very much concerned about things in the world and what world. So definitely, if you've got some thoughts on world politics, world issues, social justice, maybe just sports or maybe entertainment news or things of that nature, just let me know. Let me know, because this is the Mullings Music and Memory Show. Of course, I'll bring you up some reflections of my own, things that I might have been involved in as a child or as a young man and things along those lines. And of course, you can share your views and some of your past thoughts as well, based on what might have happened in your life. Could be that you're still in your teen or years of around 20s or so and are just now developing those memories. Or you might be a person like me that's in their late 50s or you might even be somebody like my dad and some of his generation that are like around their late 70s and early 80s. So definitely we love to hear from people of all generations and to get their thoughts and reflections on things that are going on around the world. So that's just some of the things that are going on. I hope that the folks out there are having a good holiday and that they are enjoying themselves on this particular day. We do know that a lot of folks, like I said, are doing cookouts and they might be doing other things that they can do. Of course, everybody's trying to maintain the guidelines that folks have asked us to do in terms of social distance and in terms of wearing the mask and in terms of, doing other things to protect ourselves during this age of the pandemic. So a lot of folks are thinking about these things. They're very much concerned about these things. And of course, there are a number of other things that are going on in the world that have also got folks concerned as well. So I know a lot of folks are reflecting and thinking about what this year, 2020, has meant to them so far, because it has definitely been a year of change, a year of a lot of upheaval, a year of just amazing things that have gone on around the world. So I know a lot of folks are even thinking about ways to engage folks, even in this age of what's going on. We're even seeing protests and other things that are taking place. And some of that is around Black Lives Matter. Some of it is around other issues that people are concerned about, including trying to get equality in pay, whether that's equality in pay for women or for what some people might consider frontline workers, and not just hospital workers, but also those that are working in the restaurant and other businesses as well. So a number of folks are very much concerned about a lot of these things and are definitely paying attention to these things on a regular basis. So hopefully y'all are doing the same, keeping track of what's going on in the news and adding your thoughts and your reflections on a number of these things that are happening around our world. So that's some of what's going on here. I know a number of folks have been paying attention to a lot of things that are going on and that are continuing to go on. So hope that everybody out there is continuing to pay attention and definitely staying engaged, because staying engaged is very important in this day. Like I said, it's very easy to get disengaged if we choose to, but I would urge us not to, because this is just a time when disengagement is not something that should be encouraged. So we should need to find more ways to get engaged and to stay engaged in what's happening in the world, because there's so many things that are going on and that we need to be always aware of, because there are just a lot of things that are happening. And like I've always been a big fan of staying engaged and being involved in the politics of your area. I remember even when I was in school in Milwaukee, back at Marquette, I definitely tried to stay engaged and was involved in a number of organizations there on campus. I was a member of the Amnesty International, our college chapter. Of course, was involved with some of the African American organizations there in terms of like political organizations. I think that we had a student union, African American student organization, and I was definitely part of that. And then, of course, there were some other organizations that I was part of as well. Some that were not as political by nature, like the newspaper staff, and of course our radio station there on the campus of Marquette. So I was over there at WMUR. I believe that was the call letters, if memory is serving me correctly. So definitely I remember those days, and that would be one of those memory moments. Like I said, we will reflect on some memory moments every once in a while. But I definitely remember working for the school newspaper with folks like Janine Klein, Tom Morfitt, and a number of others that were part of that staff. I want to say Todd Beeman was there at some point, and maybe also Herb Lowe. So a number of folks that I've still, to some degree, kept in touch with, some more than others, but definitely remember those days way back in the early 80s, because that's when I was at Marquette University between the summer of 1980 till December of 1984. And we're now in the fall of 2020. So it would have been 40 years ago that I actually began that college journey. So I know how some folks are feeling as they're going to go off to college, and get ready to start that phase of their life. So definitely I can relate to what some folks may be thinking about what's going on and how that may be impacting them. So definitely, I know a lot of folks are keeping their minds on a lot of these very important issues. They are very important in this day and time of ours. So I know a lot of folks are definitely staying engaged and trying to figure out what they can do in these hard times and with the things that are going on in their lives. So that's one of the things that's happening over here is we're finding folks that are having to pivot. I know that's a new favorite word for many people is folks are pivoting from one thing to another just because of what's going on in the world with the pandemic and more things along that line. So definitely it'll be interesting to see more and more about how that plays off and what happens with that. And by the way, it looks like, speaking of things that are going on in the world that can be somewhat depressing and everything, but we do have to keep track of all that is going on in our global world. But it seems that California has set a record as wildfires have torched more than 2 million acres so far this year. Just in the year of 2020, 2 million acres have been devastated by fire there in California. It says intense heat, parched conditions, and significant wind events fueled record-shattering wildfires and strained the electrical grid across much of California on Monday, forcing the Forest Service to close 8 national forests. California has been struggling with a record-breaking fire season this year. More than 2 million acres have already burned. The days ahead look equally grim. Existing fires are displaying extreme fire behavior. New fire starts are likely. Weather conditions are worsening, and we simply do not have enough resources to fully fight and contain every fire, according to Randy Moore, the regional forester for the USDA Forest Service Pacific Southwest region. More than 20,000 lightning strikes in the past 3 weeks has sparked almost 24 major fires, according to Cal Fires. The fires have burned, looks like tens of thousands of acres, destroyed homes, and caused thousands in terms of, looks like that might be residents to flee. So caused thousands of residents to flee. So definitely folks in California are being hit, and apparently September and October, and we're in the month of September, are historically the worst fire months. And that was according to the Cal Fire spokesperson, Lynn Talmachoff, says that it's usually hot and the fuels really dry out, and we see more of our wind events. Says widespread power outages had not materialized, although almost 60,000 homes and businesses were dark on Monday afternoon. Pacific Gas and Electric warned customers in Central and Northern California that power might be cut Tuesday because of the increasing fire danger. So definitely looks like our brothers and sisters in California are dealing with some very harsh weather. And of course, our thoughts will go out to them and our prayers as well. So definitely looks like a number of things are happening in that area of the country and that they are still dealing with stuff on a regular basis. So hopefully things will get better for them and things will improve in the very near future. So definitely we're seeing how a lot of climate things can also impact what is going on around the world. And I do know, like I mentioned on our show here or on our network here yesterday, that there is some severe typhoon-like weather that was hitting Tokyo and Japan. So that was yesterday, and I imagine they're probably still dealing with that as well even today. So like I said, a number of things are happening around the world that are impacting what's going on globally and internationally. So globally and internationally are basically the same thing. So definitely we're seeing a number of things that folks are paying attention to and that folks are looking at everything. So apparently the Atlantic, which is where we're at, is going to have some weather coming as well. It says that the Atlantic is staying busy as Tropical Storm Paulette is coming our way as well. So it just formed, but and forecasters apparently are eyeing other trouble spots as well. So it says the bustling Atlantic basin isn't taking a Labor Day breather One depression intensified Monday into a tropical storm, and forecasters are tracking multiple areas that could spin up trouble this week. The Eastern Atlantic is going to become quite active during the next few days, according to a hurricane expert, Dan Kavlatsky. And Tropical Storm Paulette formed in the Atlantic with a maximum sustained winds of 40 miles per hour, according to the National Hurricane Center. It became the 16th named storm in a record-breaking hurricane season. Modest strengthening was expected over the next few days. The storm, about 1,375 miles east of northern Leeward Islands, will move west-northwest across the Atlantic, passing just north of the Lesser Antilles later in the week, and that's according to AccuWeather. Forecasters also were watching a tropical depression that formed off Western Africa on Monday. The depression, which has maximum sustained winds of 35 miles per hour and was nearing the Cape Verde Islands, was expected to strengthen into a tropical storm later tonight. So definitely it looks like that kind of weather is starting to stir up around that area as well. So there's even a quote from a gentleman who said that he just knew that it was going to impact him, and it was from a Cameroon trimper who had survived a sinking boat during Hurricane Laura. So he just was talking about how that storm had impacted his life. And as far as the forecasters also were monitoring a weak tropical wave over the Caribbean island, a strong tropical wave expected to emerge off the African coastline late in the week, and a trough of low pressure southeast of Bermuda, according to AccuWeather. So definitely looks like the weather might be stirring up. September is the peak month of hurricane season. The most active day of the year is around September 10th, which is Thursday on average, and that's according to theweather.com. Tropical storms and hurricanes can form anywhere in the Atlantic Ocean this time of year, and an estimated 71% of hurricane activity is still yet to come. So definitely it looks like folks might have to get ready for some more hurricanes, even though we've had a number of them already. Says predictions of an active hurricane season have been more than met. The 2020 hurricane season tally now includes 16 named storms and 5 hurricanes, which are Hannah, Isaias, Laura, Marco, and Nana. Hurricane Laura was the most lethal, ruin ashore on the border of Texas and Louisiana as a Category 4 storm back on August 27. The storm pulverized buildings, severed power lines, clogged streets with debris, and unfortunately left at least 25 people dead. So definitely that's been the most impactful so far, and hopefully we will not have any more to do that kind of damage anytime soon, because we do know that that kind of damage can be quite devastating. So hopefully things will pick up, and we won't have to deal with any more of those kind of weathers, even though, like I said, we are in the midst of hurricane season, and it is something we have to think about and be prepared for, even in the course of what else is going on in the world with the pandemic and a number of other things. So that being said, we do have to pay attention to all things that are going on in the world, no matter what might be happening, and we need to pay attention. So that's what's happening over there in the sense of the weather. And definitely I'm going to give y'all a little bit more music, and then I might come back and talk a little bit more sports. And also got some music that somebody sent me. So I'm going to give y'all some music that's going to be like some original sound and things of that nature. So I'm definitely looking forward to y'all catching that. But gave y'all a little bit of blues earlier. I think it might be a little time for, I think we'll keep it on a blues track, but I might give you some jazz during the course of the time between now and 7 as well. But right now we're going to keep it on that blues track. I might give you a little bit of, how about some Johnny Teller? Johnny Teller sounds like a great choice for some amazing blues. So he's always got some great sounds and some amazing tunes. So I think I'll give y'all a little bit of Johnny Teller, and maybe even one of my favorite songs, which I know a lot of folks out there can relate to, because, a lot of us are facing this whole concept of those last $2, because unfortunately, a lot of us are facing poverty and other things that we did not want to be facing. But that being said, that's just what we got to deal with. And that's just how we got to roll, because things are very difficult. And unfortunately, I know a lot of people out there with the economy can relate to the concept of having their last $2. So I know definitely I can relate to it, and I'm sure a number of others can as well. So going to give y'all a little bit of Johnny Taylor as we hear the song My Last $2. And I'll come back with some more great sounds in a little bit as well. But I think y'all will really enjoy this sound entitled My Last $2.
What a shame. All right. My lady at the casino, she lost all her money. She said, don't feel sorry for me. No. Don't feel sorry, honey. But if you want to do a lady a favor, here's what I want you to do. Just loan me $2. Oh, until the next time I see you. But these last $2, I'm not gonna lose. These last $2, I'm not gonna lose. One going for my bus fare, other one for the jukebox. To hear me some blues, gotta hear me some blues. She said I wouldn't be over here. My man had been treating me right. I came here to try to catch him, yeah. 'Cause he been sneaking around every night. But I got caught up over here, yeah. Got caught up in this scene. And I put all of my money in that doggone gallon machine. But these last $2, I'm not gonna lose. These last $2, yeah, I'm not gonna lose. One going for my bus fare, and the other for the jukebox. I got to hear me some down home blues. Oh, Lord. Lady at the casino lost all the money, yeah. She said, don't feel sorry. Don't feel sorry, honey. If you want to do a lady a favor, here's what I want you to do. Just loan me $2 until the next time I see you. But these last $2, I'm not gonna lose. These last $2, I'm not gonna lose. Both for my bus fare, other one for the jukebox. To hear me some blues. Oh, yeah. These last $2, I'm not gonna lose. These last $2, I'm not gonna lose. I learned my lesson, and now, baby, I wanna hear some blues. All right. These last $2, no, I'm not gonna lose. These last $2, I sure ain't gonna. Got one for my bus fare, for the one for the jukebox. I got to hear me some blues. Yeah, I think I said it again. These last $2, I'm not gonna lose. These last $2, sure ain't gonna lose. One goes for the bus fare, for the one for the jukebox. Oh, you got to hear me sometime.
And in terms of other things going on in the world, there's all kinds of things that are happening and that folks are paying attention to, including things that are coming out of the White House. So apparently earlier today, President Trump used a Labor Day press conference to continue to push back on allegations that he disparaged members of the military and to attack his Democratic opponents over the timing of a potential coronavirus vaccine. Speaking from the North Portico of the White House, Trump echoed many of the same themes he has raised on the campaign trail, repeatedly criticizing Democratic nominee Joe Biden and defending his record on the economy and the COVID-19 pandemic. At one point, he demanded the Democrats immediately apologize for the reckless anti-vaccine rhetoric that they are talking right now. The argument follows remarks by Biden's running mate, Senator Kamala Harris, that she would not trust an announcement from Trump about a vaccine without a credible source corroborating his statement. So definitely we're seeing politics playing in all kinds of parts of the world and around things that are going on. Apparently, Harris told CNN's State of the Union that I will not say that I would not trust Donald Trump. She said, I will say that I would not trust Donald Trump, and it would have to be a credible source of information that talks about the efficiency and the reliability of whatever he's talking about. I will not take his words for it. The back and forth over the vaccine underscored the huge impact it could have in the November election. Trump acknowledged he wants a vaccine quickly. He has said his motivation is not political and continued to suggest one could be ready by October. So he's saying that they could have one ready by October. 2/3 of U.S. voters said they won't try to get a coronavirus vaccine as soon as it became available, and 1 in 4 say they don't want to ever get it, according to a new USA Today Suffolk poll released the same week that the number of COVID-19 cases surpassed 6 million. So 2/3 of Americans say they won't get COVID-19 vaccine when it's first available. Asked if he would take a vaccine before the election if one was available, Biden said he would want to see what the scientists said and argued that Trump's past misstatements have undermined public confidence in public health officials. Biden then said he would take a vaccine if one were available. If I can get a vaccine tomorrow, I'll do it. If it costs me the election, I'd do it. Trump also continued to defend himself against explosive allegations reported last week in The Atlantic that he decried members of the military and America's war dead as losers and suckers. Trump repeatedly pointed to a statement over the weekend from former White House Deputy Chief of Staff Zach Vontes that he did not hear the president call anyone losers when I told him about the weather. Only an animal would say a thing like that, Trump said of the underlying allegations. Several news outlets, including the Associated Press and Fox News, have confirmed many of the statements the Atlantic piece reported were made by Trump. So definitely Trump acknowledged that he might be less popular with military leaders than with the rank and file troops. He claimed that that was because senior officials at the Pentagon want to do nothing but fight wars. He also hit on several other topics during the news conference. He said the negotiations over another economic stimulus to address the impact from coronavirus were at a standstill because congressional Democrats did not want a deal. Asked why he wasn't personally seeking to start negotiations, he said, I'm taking the high road by not seeing them. That's the high road. So apparently not meeting with folks is the high road, according to what he's saying. Trump said he would support an investigation into the Postmaster General Louis DeJoy, and we mentioned that earlier. He spoke angrily about Biden and others in connection with the Russia investigation that consumed much of his first term, and he refused to say whether he wants to see his political opponents indicted for what he has claimed without evidence are crimes that were committed against his campaign during the 2016 election. So he's definitely trying to go in that regards and in that direction. So we'll see how that plays out, what folks think about that, whether it gets any what they call traction and all of that. So we're going to find out how all of these things play out, what happens with it, and if anybody makes that a deciding factor in their vote. Because like I said, the important thing is that we do need to get folks out there to get that vote on. The voting is very important. So definitely, no matter what your thoughts are about the current people occupying the White House, Congress, Senate, I would even argue your local offices, definitely get out and vote, because you really can't complain unless you've done your part. So I would definitely urge folks to get out there and exercise that right to vote and to get out there and get their votes counted as well. So that would be something that I would definitely suggest for folks to do. I know that I've been voting regularly throughout the course of the elections, and that I plan to be out there maybe as early as the middle of October when we have early voting. I don't know if I want to do the absentee voting. That's just my thoughts on that. I mean, I'm not knocking those who want to go that route. I'm just thinking that I might want to actually do in person. And if that's the case, I will be there in the middle of October to get my vote in. At least that's my plan as of right now. You know, all things are subject to change, even our plans. So like I said, we'll find out how that goes. And speaking of things that are going on, apparently a few hundred boaters doubling as supporters of the president crossed the channel between Lake Erie and Presque Isle Bay on Sunday, honking horns, flying Keep America Great flags, and waving the dozen of land-based Make America Great Again backers in a show of support for Trump's re-election campaign organized by Austin Detzel, a 19-year-old college sophomore who supports the Republican president. Sunday's boat parade included vessels of all sizes, including personal watercrafts. It's been happening all over the country, and honestly, I thought someone in Erie would have done this by now, but nobody did, Detzel said. With COVID, there's nothing to do anyway. This looked like fun. The Erie rally had a better ending than a similar event on Saturday in Texas, where 5 boats participating in a parade in support of Trump's reelection sank on Lake Travis west of Austin. So that was not good. Trump supporters who helped him narrowly carry Erie County in Pennsylvania in 2016 didn't just come by the sea. They came by the land too, from the vacant West Kmart Plaza in Mill Creek Township. And his backers rode motorcycles, cars, and even semi-tractors through the Erie area to Dobbins Landing. Republican Brian Shank, a member of the Erie City Council, said he was proud of the turnout. He said he put up a little Facebook post up, and now I've got tractor trailers here and motorcycles. I've never met these people before in my life. So, and then he also added, they're American and they're tired of our country and the direction it's going. And they're showing people we're not the silent majority. We are the majority, and we're going to make some noise. We're going to get out and vote. Definitely from dark shadows to thugs on a plane, Trump waded deeper into conspiracy theories as the election nears. So apparently Marc Schumacher wore a shirt bearing Trump's image underneath his denim button-down. A flag he held had the same image on it. Lori Schumacher, his wife, carried an American flag. And a lot of folks, no matter what side of the divide they are on, are considering this the most important election of their lifetime. So I'm definitely hearing that both from folks on the right as well as from folks on the left as well. So it's going to be interesting to see who is actually going to get their support out more than the others. So definitely ought to be interesting to see what happens with that. But in this area, it says local Democratic leaders and candidates spoke to a small crowd and helped register people to vote at an anti-hate event in nearby Liberty Park and at Dobbins Landing. Political activist Jasmine Flores and 36 other demonstrators held signs reading Black Lives Matter and No Trump, Pence, No KKK, No Fascist USA, among other signs. A few others carried signs in support of former Vice President Joe Biden, the Democratic nominee. So looks like definitely folks on both sides are getting mobilized, and it ought to be interesting to see which side gets their forces mobilized the most. So this is some interesting times that we are in when it comes to politics and world affairs. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out and what folks have happening in regards to that. So a number of folks are probably trying to figure that out themselves also. So we definitely ought to be interested to see how it all plays out and what folks have when they deal with that. So definitely folks are also thinking about their money and their finances. So that's a very important issue, and definitely looks like it's impacting how we're doing things with even in the sense of the economy and how it's impacting the buying of homes. Because earlier it was reported that as a house divided, as millions of Americans face evictions, others buy their dream homes during COVID-19. So I guess it depends on where you fall in to that financial divide. So definitely we're seeing some people that are going out and getting homes and others that are not. But definitely the article says the coronavirus recession has opened a wide chasm between the haves and the have-nots in America's housing market. Some people can't afford to flee cities and upgrade their life at a time when the median price for a home is at its highest ever. But other Americans aren't confident that they will ever own a home, and they face lasting financial damage from the pandemic following a historic wave of job losses, looming evictions, surge in home prices, and stagnant wages. So definitely a lot of folks are being impacted by what's going on, and not all in a positive way all the time, because definitely we're seeing that some people are able to get these things going, but others are not. It says COVID hasn't stopped the housing market, but good luck finding a home you can afford. So definitely it looks like the homes are not exactly the most cheapest houses in the world, but definitely folks are seeing that. So the economic downturn has led to a 8.4 unemployment rate in August, leaving many Americans struggling to buy a home or afford rent, particularly lower wage workers in hard hit hospitality and retail jobs. Among the renter households earning less than $35,000 per year, 42% have slight or no confidence in their ability to pay September rent, according to the most recent U.S. Census Bureau Household Pulse Survey. The level of economic suffering for families is heartbreaking if we don't figure out how to help unemployed Americans pay rent, said Sam Gilman, co-founder of the COVID-19 Eviction Defense Project. Eviction leads to horrible consequences for families. It can lead to homelessness, kids not going to school, and it's linked to deaths of despair. So definitely we're seeing folks like that. Trump's administration, by the way, has announced a nationwide eviction moratorium through the end of the year. What the moratorium means for one of the South's most vibrant cities, but that's going to be interesting, and folks going to have to see how that all plays out, and how the landlords and the tenants, and also how, whether you're a landlord of a complex or the landlord of an individual house, how folks individually deal with these issues. But last Tuesday, the Trump administration said it is implementing a national 4-month moratorium on residential evictions. It goes into effect Friday and will run through December 31st, applying to individuals earning less than $99,000 a year and who are unable to make rent or house payments. The move comes after Republicans and Democrats in Congress failed to reach a deal on another coronavirus rescue package. The moratorium is a vital step because it will protect millions of Americans from becoming homeless through the December holidays, housing experts say. But it doesn't solve the eviction crisis, they added, since there are loopholes in the moratorium that may leave some renters at risk of removal. The order would meaningfully reduce the number of Americans who are at risk of non-payment evictions, but it doesn't help renters pay rent, said Gilman. Some experts have argued for extending enhanced unemployment benefits so that renters and homeowners who need emergency cash can pay their rent and mortgages. We are only delaying this huge buildup in rental debt and the precursor to eviction. We still need rent relief from Congress to solve the underlying economic conditions, said Gilman. Once rent comes due after the holidays, the circumstances for millions of Americans likely will not have changed. An estimated 30 million to 40 million Americans are at risk of eviction by the end of the year once the moratorium expires, according to Gilman. So home buying also demand signals wealth divide. Even as millions of renters fear losing their homes, the housing market has become a bright spot in the economy and could even drive its recovery. That marks a very different trajectory for housing compared with the aftermath of the 2008 financial crisis, which saw a collapse in the real estate prices. Homeowners with secure, higher paying jobs and access to cash and credit have been able to take advantage of record low mortgage rates. Meanwhile, job losses disproportionately affect low income and Black workers, housing experts say. And there are deep disparities as well. For white households, the national home ownership rate stood at 73.7% in the first quarter of this year, up from 73.2% in the first quarter of 2019, according to a recent report from real estate brokerage Redfin. For Black households, the rate was 44% during the first quarter of 2020, up from 41.1% a year prior. The value many Black Americans have missed out on because they were impacted by systematic racism in housing could have been passed down to children and grandchildren, paying for things like higher education, child care, starting a business, and down payments on their own home, according to Taylor Amar, an economist at Redfin. House prices are rising, and the home improvement industry is booming during the pandemic as more Americans work from home, leading them to spend money on new properties or customize their living spaces. Some people are suddenly flush with cash and have access to cheap borrowing. Home sales have continued to rise, leading to a record-breaking prices. Despite another spike in the coronavirus cases in part of the U.S., the median national price for a home in July reached $304,100, the first time ever it has topped $300,000, according to the National Association of Realtors. So we are seeing folks that are having an impact in how that is going as well. Home buying is typically a spring and early summer affair, but this year was delayed because of the pandemic, and that's according to some experts in that particular part of the field as well. There's still a lot of interest in sellers getting top dollar for their homes and buyers getting more space, says Ted Rosman, an industry analyst at Bankrate. The work from home trend has legs even beyond the pandemic because many companies have found that workers can be productive from home and it saves them money on office space, says Rossman. That has big ripple effects for the housing market if work from home becomes more permanent. Some are splurging on renovations and home upgrades. Some Americans are upgrading their life with new appliances. Hey, I'm one of those. I got a blender sometime back. Electronics and furniture, and some are planning other home improvements and renovations. Roughly 59% of homeowners have already completed at least $500 worth of home upgrades during the pandemic or plan to before the end of the year, according to a recent survey from Bankrate. There's a fortunate group of Americans with a steady paycheck that didn't go on big vacations, but did end up buying new furniture, appliances, or are renovating, said Rossman. So definitely looks like folks are finding some things that they can do that would be of a positive impact when it comes to finances and things of that nature, particularly when it comes to finances related around home ownership and all of that. So we are seeing a number of changes that are positive changes, and that's a good thing. So we'll see how this all continues to play out and what folks have to say as more and more of this is developed over the course of time. So definitely we're seeing a number of positive changes in the sense of what folks are doing on the economic front. So that is good news for a number of folks that we are seeing these kind of positive changes, and that we will continue, hopefully, to see these positive changes for a while. So that's some good news, even though we do know that folks are still being impacted devastatingly by the high unemployment, by a number of the other things. So it does look like there might be some upticks in certain trends, but that does not mean that we're out of the woods in the least bit. As you just heard, a number of folks are still trying to figure out what to do as they face the possibility of evictions and the possibility of things along that line. line. So definitely, there might be some parts of the economy that are improving. And of course, even when we think about the unemployment figures, we have to think about the folks of some folks have even given up on looking for jobs, or they are kind of discouraged. So I am one of those folks that is wondering about some of those figures that we hear when they are seeming to be improvement, how much of that is true and how much of that is because people have given up or are frustrated by what is going on in the world. So we have to take all of these things into consideration as we think about these very hard times and what is going on in the world. So a number of folks may just have actually given up and may not be thinking along those lines. So definitely we'll find out what folks have got to say. And we do have people watching us. I have somebody that said Discord and somebody else that wrote that the Democrats are killing us. So they are apparently not a fan of the Democratic Party. That's their opinion. And of course, we have everybody that is entitled to their various opinions and to what they think and to how they go. So we do have folks that are watching and are catching us and are giving us their thoughts of all that is going on in the world and what they think is happening. So definitely glad to have a number of folks watching us. So definitely, if you got thoughts and you want to share your thoughts, then we are always open to hearing these thoughts being shared by many, because we do love getting comments and hearing what folks have to say. So definitely a number of folks have expressed their thoughts, expressed their concerns, and we're always glad to hear from folks about that. So we're going to take a break. I am going to bring up Tamara Bubble, who sent me some of their music, and who knows, they may even appear on the show later on. But in the meantime, we're going to keep this blues thing going because, like I said, I am a big time blues fan and definitely love hearing the blues. So right from Miss Jody, and we're going to hear Miss Jody singing a song that I know a lot of folks can relate to. They probably have had these moments as well. That's that moment of when the haters hate you. So haters can be hating is the name of this particular song. So we're going to see what they've got to say and what their thoughts are in that regard. So we love hearing from different people and getting their reflections and their thoughts. So I'm going to try to bring that up in the very near future. Computers trying to do what computers like to do. So we will see how that all works out, and we'll get you Haters Gonna Be Hating, which is definitely a classic blues song. And I know a number of folks will enjoy it once I'm able to bring it up and to give y'all this particular song. So definitely, as I was saying earlier, if anybody's got any thoughts that they want to share, we are always here at IBM.TV. Love hearing comments from folks and love hearing what folks have got to add to the conversation. So definitely, I know a number of folks are always interested in sharing their thoughts, sharing what's on their mind, and just kind of like going along with the flow. So definitely, I'm hoping that many of you will also have your shots, because we love hearing from different people and hearing what they've got to say and what their thoughts are about what's going on in the world. So that being said, I'm definitely going to bring up that particular song, and I hope that y'all will enjoy what Miss Jody's got to say about haters going to be hating. So definitely look forward to hearing this particular song.
You know, in this life, there are always going to be haters out there. I know there's somebody out there that's hating on you. There's somebody out there that's hating on me too. Haters gonna be hating. Somebody out there, y'all, is hating on you. Haters gonna be hating. And I know somebody is hating on you. Now some people be hating and don't even know your name. How much they hate on you is a damn shame. Some don't like the car you drive or the house you're living in. Some be hating on your jobs, might be your closest friend. In this world, there's one thing I know. You're gonna find true haters everywhere you go. Haters gonna be hating. Somebody out there is hating on you. Haters are gonna be hating. Oh, and I know somebody is hating on you. No matter who you are or what you do, I know there's some haters out there that's hating on you. Now you can live uptown or down in the hood. There's still gonna be some haters that don't mean you no good. Now it's so true. Listen to what I say. You can't dodge those haters no matter where you stay. I said a haters, they're gonna be hating you. Somebody out there is hating on you. I said haters are gonna be hating. Yes, they are. Somebody out there I know is hating on me too. Now all this hating, it ought to be a crime. It don't make no sense, but I see it all the time. It's been going on forever, and it always will be. They'll be hating on you, and they'll be hating on me. Now don't be surprised when a hater start hating on you, 'cause that's just what they are, and that's just what they do. I said a hater are gonna be hating you. Somebody out there is hating on you. I said haters gonna be hating. They're gonna be hating, I know they are. Somebody out there is hating on me too. Haters gonna be hating. They'll always be out there, y'all. Ain't nothing you can do about it. Ain't no you, no matter how hard you try. You see, you'll be surprised. Find out just the reason why. Some haters out there are hating on you, hating on you. Might be in the White House, might be in your house, but the haters are gonna always be hating on you. They can be a woman, or it can be a man. It might even be your dog hating on you. Oh, haters gonna be hating y'all. Somebody out there is hating on you, hating on you. Haters are gonna be hating. Listen to what I'm saying, y'all, 'cause they hating on me too. Oh, haters, they're gonna be hating, yeah, yeah. Somebody out there is hating on you. Oh, haters, they're gonna be hating. And you'll be surprised, yes you will, to find out who's hating on you. Oh, haters, they're gonna be hating. Somebody out there is hating on you.
All right, then. That was a little bit of Miss Jody doing her thing and definitely giving us some great sounds and definitely one of my favorite songs. I know a lot of folks out there can relate to that particular song. They can definitely relate to what was being sung about because they've also faced that as well. Folks that might be hating on them and not doing well by what they were having on their mind. So we definitely know folks can relate to that thought and can definitely even get with what they're saying. So it'll be interesting to see whether folks have comments on that particular song, what they think of that particular song, because, of course, we do love providing y'all with great music and just some amazing sounds that you may enjoy, that you may have on your mind. So definitely, I know a lot of folks out there that can relate to what was being sung about and to all that's going on. So I know a number of folks that can get with that, and they might even have some folks that they might be hating on. So, like I said, oftentimes we wind up hating on folks and don't even know why we're hating on them. So I'm sure there were some folks out there that can relate to that and might have even been thinking about their own life and what was going on in their life. So, you know, whether it's that song or another song that I'm a big fan of, and I think I might have played this one last week as well, but I know a lot of folks out there can also know that we don't have time for hate. So that's what I'm going to give y'all a dose of, as well as this song by Shamika Copeland entitled Ain't Got Time for Hate, because I'm with them. I don't have time for hate either. It's about trying to share joy and positive thoughts. So I ain't got time for hate, and I'm sure many of y'all don't either.
Where's your wings, little angel? My sweet baby child. And how you gonna live in a world gone wild, where you better be smart, you better be strong, ain't gonna be here.
Yeah, hold on. And apparently we get
alone. I don't care if you're rich, never had a dime. This whole life is an uphill climb, and I ain't got time for hate. One more moment is a moment too late. We ain't got time for hate. People lost and lonely, looking for a home. Call us names that still hurt us, a lot more than stones. It's the law of the jungle, it's the law of the land. We hold each other's hearts in the palm of our hands, and we ain't got time, we ain't got time, we ain't got time for hate. One more moment is a moment too late. We ain't got time for hate. Black and white, brown or tan, every woman, child and man, rich or poor, gay and straight, we ain't got time for hate. And we don't know why. We're the same air, bleed the same blood. Some in mansions and some in mud. Little angel, if you survive, I know someday you gonna fly. And I ain't got time, ain't got time for hate. One more moment is a moment too late. We ain't got time for hate. And I ain't got time, ain't got time for hate.
ain't got time for hate. We ain't got time for hate.
No doubt about that. We definitely don't have time for hate. There's no time for that whatsoever. But I also said that I like to encourage folks that are doing positive things to tell us about those positive things so I can share them as well. So I heard from a artist by the name of Tamara Bubble, and I told her that I would get a chance to play her music, and it's actually some music that's very much Labor Day fitting. It's entitled Get Back to My Life. So that's what I'm going to let y'all check out right now is Tamara Bubble and Get Back to My Life. I also have invited her to appear on one of our shows, whether it's this one, if she gets in the next hour or so, or whether it's a upcoming edition of a future show. So definitely she does know that she is welcome to come on the show and to share her music. But right now we're going to let y'all check out what it's all about with Get Back to My Life. And this is actually going to get us away from the blues sound, since she's definitely not a blues artist. I would consider her more of a pop kind of artist or something along those lines. But I do think that y'all will enjoy this one. And I also think she's got one that's kind of political in it that I might try to get on as well. But let's check out Get Back to My Life. Yeah, that was some nice songs. There ain't no doubt about that. I was digging that song, so that was real cool. So, yeah, I think a lot of folks can relate to that, no doubt. So, yeah, that was a wild song. Oh, yeah. I think I'm going to give y'all a little more taste of what Tamara is all about. Because, like I said, I think she's got some different styles that cross all kinds of genres. So this one is actually called Big Business. So I'm going to let y'all check that out as well. So I think y'all will enjoy seeing how diverse Miss Bubble is, Tamara Bubble. So I'm going to let y'all catch that also. Get ready to bring y'all that in a matter of a minute or so, because like I said, y'all will see that she is a diverse performer that covers all kinds of sounds, and I think that y'all will definitely enjoy what it's all about when you hear this particular number. And I'm here to bring that up very shortly, and then y'all can see what this is all about. So this is another one of Tamara Bubble's songs entitled Big Business.
Big business. Big. Oh.
Yeah.
Big business. Big. Oh.
Mess with my bag, we gon' fight. Mention bread, I'm gon' bite. Let me shine, get your life. I get paid day and night. My bitties hang, ain't no bra. My body bang, it's dangerous. I'm super dope. You don't know why you taking notes to match my fly. Where your money at? Put your money up. Where your money at? Put your money up. Big business. That's a real good business. Money in my birthday. You can mind your business. Big business. You up here sagging out my side. You out here hating with all your might. You know you die to be this right. You know you jelly, know you drive with all that stuff. You don't want none. You feeling froggy, then go jump. You ain't been bossy, you just gon' run. Run up, get done up, I finish your fun up. Where your money at? Put your money up. Where your money at? Put your money up. Big business. That's a real good business. Money in my birthday. You can mind your business. Big business. Such a trick, got them tricking. I get money, they gon' miss that. I'm in that bread, I need my space, spin that way. Such a trick, got them tricking. I get money, they gon' miss that. I'm in that bread, I need my space, spin that way. Transactions, a whole lot of money. I get this action like transactions, yeah, I get the money. A lot of you acting broke. Transactions, a whole lot of money. I get this action like transactions, yeah, I get the money. A lot of you acting broke. I'm big business. That's a real good business. Money in my birthday. You can mind your business. Big business.
Yeah, that was Tamara Bubble and her song entitled Big Business. And like I said, they definitely got some other songs as well. So we're going to check out a couple of more of the ones that are out there as well. So as a matter of fact, I think I might give y'all a taste of Squeaky Wheel after a while. But before we get to Squeaky Wheel, we're going to talk a little bit about today's holiday. That's right, it's Labor Day. I know a number of folks have been out there doing the barbecue. There have been parades. There have been a number of other things that have gone around in celebration of Labor Day. But, you know, sometimes folks actually forget the real reason of Labor Day, because a lot of times folks are thinking about the connection to the end of summer and definitely to before the pandemic, going to the beach, going to lakes, going fishing and things of that nature. But people forget that when the holiday was originally created, it was to celebrate the American labor movement. That's right. It is a federal holiday in the United States, celebrated on the first Monday in September to honor and recognize the American labor movement and the works and contributions of laborers to the development and achievement of the United States. It is the Monday of the long weekend, known as Labor Day weekend, beginning in the late 19th century as the trade union and labor movements grew. Trade unionists proposed that a day be set aside to celebrate labor. Labor Day was promoted by the Central Labor Union and the Knights of Labor, which organized the first parade in New York. In 1887, Oregon was the first state of the United States to make it an official public holiday. By the time it became an official federal holiday in 1894, 30 states in the United States officially celebrated Labor Day. Canada's Labor Day is also celebrated on the first Monday of September, and more than 80 countries celebrate International Workers' Day on May 1st, the ancient European holiday of May Day. May Day was chosen by the Second International of Socialist and Communist Parties to commemorate the Haymarket Affair, which occurred in Chicago on May 4th, 1886. So there is a collaboration between Labor Day and May Day. Both of those are supposed to be holidays revolving around the labor movement. So it says beginning in the late 19th century, as the trade union and labor movements grew, different groups of trade unionists chose a variety of days on which to celebrate labor. In the United States, a September holiday called Labor Day was first proposed in the early 1800s. According to one early history of Labor Day, the event originated in connection with a General Assembly of the Night of Labor convened in New York City in September of 1882. In connection with this clandestine Night's Assembly, a public parade of various labor organizations was held on September 5th under the auspices of the Central Labor Union of New York. Secretary of the CLU, Matthew McQuire, is credited for first proposing that a National Labor Day holiday subsequently be held on the first Monday of each September in the aftermath of this successful public demonstration. An alternative thesis maintains that the idea of Labor Day was the brainchild of Peter J. McGuire, a vice president of the American Federation of Labor, who put forth the initial proposal in the spring of 1882. According to McGuire, on May 8, 1882, he made a proposition to the fledgling Central Labor Union in New York City that a day be set aside for a general holiday for the laboring classes. According to McGuire, he further recommended that the event should begin with a street parade as a public demonstration of organized labor's solidarity and strength, with the march followed by a picnic to which participating local unions could sell tickets as a fundraiser. According to McGuire, he suggested the first Monday in September as an ideal date for such a public celebration owing to optimum weather and the dates placed on the calendar sitting midway between the 4th of July and Thanksgiving public holidays. Labor Day picnics and other public gatherings frequently figured speeches by prominent labor leaders. In 1909, the American Federation of Labor Convention designated the Sunday preceding Labor Day as Labor Sunday to be dedicated to the spiritual and educational aspects of the labor movement. This secondary date failed to gain significant traction in popular culture, although some churches continue to acknowledge it. The popularity of the event spread across the country, and in 1887, Oregon became the first state of the United States to make Labor Day an official public holiday. And as I said earlier, by 1894, 30 U.S. states were officially celebrating Labor Day. In that year, Congress passed a bill recognizing the first Monday of September as Labor Day and making it an official federal holiday. President Grover Cleveland signed the bill into law on June 28th. The federal law, however, only made it a holiday for federal workers. As late as the 1930s, unions were encouraging workers to strike to make sure they got the day off. All U.S. states, the District of Columbia, and the United States territories have subsequently made Labor Day a statutory holiday. So definitely, as I said, there's definitely some folks that notice the relation between Labor Day and May Day. And of course, that's another holiday that celebrates the labor movement. It says since the mid-1950s, the United States has celebrated Loyalty Day and Law Day on May 1st. Unlike Labor Day, both are not legal public holidays in that non-essential government agencies and most businesses do not shut down to celebrate them and therefore have remained relatively obscure. Loyalty Day is formally celebrated in a few cities, while some bar associations hold Law Day events to celebrate the rule of law. So that's two other holidays that also apparently have some stuff to do with Labor Day as well. But then it says Labor Day is called the unofficial end of summer because it marks the end of the cultural summer season. And I would argue that that's actually where most people start paying attention to it, and they don't even pay attention to the labor part of it. And I think that that's something that we need to get back to, is paying attention to what it was originally intended for, which is a celebration of those folks that are in the working class and those that are laborers. And I know that there are a number of them here in the Triangle where I live at, and there are a number around the country, and we definitely need to be honoring them on a regular basis. I think the pandemic has proven to us how important a lot of things that might be considered labor jobs are. So definitely, I think that that's definitely something we need to consider and that we need to be having as part of our holiday celebrations. Not knocking the fact that it's the end of summer and it is seen as the unofficial end of summer, but definitely we need to go back to its original purpose and understanding what that original purpose was when it was first founded. It says in the United States, many school districts resume classes around the Labor Day holiday weekend. Of course, not seeing that much now since most folks are doing the virtual thing, but even in the virtual environment, I'm sure that there were some folks that were taking off during this time so they could have some time even in a virtual environment to get some family time with the family, but away from school. So even though a number of schools are still dealing with the pandemic, even during this Labor Day holiday, it is impacting the way that we are even celebrating our holidays. So, but the article says some begin the week before, making Labor Day weekend the first 3-day weekend of the school calendar, while others return the Tuesday following Labor Day. Many districts across the Midwest are opting to begin school after Labor Day as well. And then in the United States, Virginia, so over there in Virginia, the amusement park industry has successfully lobbied for legislation requiring most school districts in the state to have their first day of school after Labor Day in order to give families another weekend to visit the amusement parks in the state of Virginia. The relevant statute has been nicknamed the King's Dominion Law after one such park. And I remember that park. That was one of the parks that in high school we would go for our trips and everything. So this law was repealed in 2019. So it was a law that might have been in effect when I was in school back during that time. Another state that did some stuff around that was Minnesota. So the state fair actually in Minnesota ended on Labor Day in the past. And under state law, public schools normally did not begin until after the holiday. One reason given for this timing was to allow time for school children to show 4-H projects at the fair. And I was a 4-H counselor, so I can definitely relate to that as well. So definitely there are some things that are tied into this that are even part of our musings, part of the Mullings music and memories and all of that kind of aspect of what this show is all about. So as I was reading some of these things, they were definitely bringing me some memories as well. So the show is called Mullings Memories and Music, and that was definitely bringing me some memories right there. In U.S. sports, Labor Day weekend also marks the beginning of many fall sports. As we know, a lot of that has changed because of the pandemic, but historically speaking, NCAA teams usually play their first game during that weekend, and the National Football League traditionally played their kickoff game the Thursday following Labor Day. And the Southern 500 NASCAR auto race has been held on Labor Day weekend, definitely over there at the Darlington Raceway in Darlington, South Carolina, from 1950 to 2003 and since 2015. I actually need to check on that and see if they're still doing that this weekend as well, because I'm not sure whether they did it or did not, because I know a number of things have changed based on what's going on. But historically speaking, Indianapolis Raceway Park, the National Hot Rod Association, they would hold their finals of the national, well, what's the acronyms? NIRA U.S. Nationals drag race on that weekend. And also Labor Day is the middle point between week 1 and week 2 of the U.S. Open Tennis Championship held in Flushing Meadows, New York. And we do know that that is going on. Of course, I think that they're not having the fans and a number of other things because of what's going on with the pandemic. So we're definitely seeing some things that are changing because of the pandemic and also impacting our holidays, whether that's Labor Day, whether that was 4th of July early this year, whether that was May Day or Memorial Day or a number of other holidays, that it has definitely impacted how they were treated. And by the way, in fashion, Labor Day is or was considered the last day when it was acceptable to wear white or a seersucker. So definitely it even impacted like the way that we wear our clothes and things of that nature. And of course, there are numerous events and activities organized in major cities. For example, New York has in the past offered the Labor Day Carnival and fireworks over Coney Island. In Washington, one popular event has been the Labor Day concert at the U.S. Capitol, featuring the National Symphony Orchestra with free attendance. And of course, without what's going on in the world, so I doubt that they were doing it as much this time around. But historically speaking, this was also the time of Labor Day sales when a lot of folks were trying to get those back to school sales and things of that nature. Some retailers claim it is one of the largest sales date of the year, second only to the Christmas season's Black Friday. So I'm sure that a lot of these things are being impacted by the pandemic and how the pandemic is just impacting our society in general. So I'm sure that it is definitely having an impact on how we're doing things and what's going on in that regards as well. But I'm going to let y'all check out a little bit more music from that lady that had sent me her songs and all of that, because I was really enjoying what Tamara Bubble was all about. So gave you a little bit of history of Labor Day and some thoughts on Labor Day, but we're going to get right back to some more sounds, and we're going to have some more from Tamara Bubble. I think that she even had one that dealt with the politics of the day. So as you can see, she's a diverse musician, definitely has some things going on throughout the area. So I'm going to let y'all check out a little bit of these songs and see what this is all about. So we're going to let you check out Tamara Bubble and some of her amazing songs that she's got going on, and let y'all check y'all out what's going on with that. So I think we're going to check out this one entitled Who Run It? But I'm going to try to find that one that deals with politics also. But right now we're going to let you check out the one entitled Who Run It? So I think that y'all will enjoy that one also. So definitely give you a little bit of dose of what Tamara Bubble is all about. And like I said, I did invite her to appear on the show, and hopefully she will be making an appearance on one of our streaming podcasts in the very near future. So definitely looking forward to that. But in the meantime, we're just going to check out Who Run It and see what this is all about. But I do think y'all will enjoy it.
Bad girl, and I mean business. But I'm that girl, I only hustle with the queen since I'm in this. To witness, we run these streets. Rock vintage, designer, we been brought here. Walk in and it's a problem. Your face while I'm talking, oh, you got to see the star come. Ladies, gather around, cause it's about to go down. Like who want it? Who asking me if we run it? Who thinking that we can't back it up? Who thinking that we front it? Hold up, my swag different, it's all stripping, my bag bigger, I'm boss thriller, my next deal is your sweet dreams, and you won't win, we switch teams. Clap it up for the boss, oh my. Clap it up for the boss one time. Here come the trouble, bring on the drama. We hold the power, do what we want. Hope run it, hope run it, hope run it, we do. Here come the trouble, bring on the drama. We hold the power, do what we want. Hope run it, hope run it, hope run it, we do. Hope run it. Let me break it down, make it plain for you. Speak your language so you see my vision so clear blow. Look, you need me and trust I don't need you. I don't spread thin, I don't make room. I ain't got time, I'm in so boom. I'm in my prime, you need your tune. Stone cold up in my review. And I don't look behind, I got way too much to do. Why you try to figure me out in my next move? I make these rules. Clap it up for the boss, oh my. Clap it up for the boss one time. Here come the trouble, bring on the drama. We hold the power, do what we want, hold on.
Oh yeah, definitely a classic song and all of that. So definitely, I think folks are definitely enjoying that. So hold on one second, see if I can't stop the madness. All right, yeah, folks were definitely enjoying those sounds and great sounds that were coming our way. So definitely, I think folks were enjoying what they were hearing, and definitely it was just some amazing music that folks enjoyed, and I think folks will continue to enjoy those sounds. So I do want to thank Tamara Bubble for reaching out to me and telling me about her music, and like I said, it covered some great sounds and different kinds of sounds, because you heard one of them sounds definitely had more of a blues kind of beat to it, while another one was more of the traditional rap forms that we're used to. So definitely do want to thank Tamara for letting us check out her sounds and what she's all about. So definitely I appreciate that big time. And we're going to see what she got to do even when she hits the political front and all of that. So we're going to let you check out this one entitled Dictator. So we're going to check out this one entitled Dictator, and then we've got another one that's entitled Clockwork. But right now we're going to let you check out Dictator.
Little small fry, little pee-wee, little pump fake, little dictator, little cornbread, get big mad, little boy buy you a big hate. Little small fry, little pee-wee, little pump fake, little dictator, little cornbread, get big mad, little boy buy you a big hate. I get money. Cause you telling me how to spend it, yo, you funny, you're so funny. I just laugh, I'm not offended, you're a dummy. Like I need your opinion when you finish, when you done. Mommy, hop up on my board, yo. Step back on my board. I'll play you like a torch, bro. Boom, how to let a sword. Why you holding back up yours? How you mad at? I'm a boss, yo. Boss, don't tell me what to do. Girl, dictate.
So yeah, that was one of her more interesting songs and everything, but we're going to let you check out Clockwork as well. And then after that, we'll come back with some more news and thoughts along those lines. But we're going to let you check out Clockwork also, because definitely Tamara Bubble definitely had some interesting songs, and was glad that she was able to share those with us. And definitely, I think folks will enjoy what she's all about. So want to appreciate Tamara Bubble for making herself available to us so we could learn more about who she is, she's all about. So definitely do want to thank Tamara Bubble for coming in there and sharing with us her songs and what she's all about. So definitely I think folks will enjoy her music. And like I said, we'll also be coming back in the last hour or so to talk about some other world issues and some of the things that are happening. So definitely glad to have y'all here with me and to share our thoughts on Mullings music and memories. So definitely appreciate that. And right now we're going to check out Tamara Bubble and Clockwork.
Top around the clock. I woke up and never stopped. Tick tock, adrenaline got way too much. Yeah, I'm down to win. Tick tock like energy, cause sleeping is the enemy. Time's up, there's a T. There's no more crumpets, blow the trumpets. You know we on the roll and you know where we go. You know we in the mode and you don't see it coming. You know we never slowing down. We about to do another round. It's time to make it mama proud. We only do the large crowd. Moving on ya. Move it. Why don't you make time for it? Make time for it. Make time reward and move time forward. Hey. And we gon' get it in like clockwork. Yeah, we gon' get it in like clockwork. And we gon' get it in like clockwork. Clockwork. And we gon' get it in like clockwork. Yeah, we gon' get it in like clockwork. And we gon' get it in like clockwork. Clockwork. Oh, tick tock. Oh, tick tock. Oh, clockwork. Oh, tick tock. Oh, tick tock. Oh, clockwork. Do it, be it, keep believing. Steer it, own it, push up on it. Love it, live it, always give it your best shot. Then hit him in the gut with the next shot. Watch the leg drop, then the heart flop. Box me in the corner, make the show stop. Watch me any longer, make the eyes pop. Mouth wide open, let your jaw drop. You're running out of time like a stopwatch. You know we on the roll and you you know where we go. You know we in the mode and you don't see it coming. You know we never slowing down. We about to do another round of time to make your mama proud. We only go to large crowd. Moving on, yeah. Move. Why don't you make time for it? Make time for it. Make time reward and move time forward. Hey. And we gon' get it in like clockwork. Yeah, we gon' get it in like clockwork. And we gon' get it in like clockwork. Clockwork. And we gon' get it in like clockwork. Yeah, we gon' get it in like clockwork. And we gon' get it in like clockwork. Clockwork. Oh, tick-tock. Oh, tick-tock. Oh,
All right, folks, that was a little bit of the musical break. Might give you a little bit more musical break of a different style of music, maybe some R&B or some more blues very shortly and all of that. But I did want to share with you some more things that were going on in the world and some more thoughts and things of that nature. By the way, don't forget that on Tuesday, I believe it's around 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock, thereabouts, we will be having our fantasy football show. So that is coming your way. So definitely look forward to that on Tuesday. Today is Monday. So I do know that show airs on Tuesday. Yours truly will be participating in that. I'm a member of the Fantasy Football Club, oftentimes finding ways to get involved in fantasy football, trying to see if my team can win or not. Last year, I made it into the championship round, but I did not actually win the championship, unfortunately. So that's a shame that I did not win the championship, but maybe 2020 will be my year in the sense of winning the championship. So I heard from my good friend, Jim Eade, and he'll definitely be on to talk about fantasy football and things along that line. So I'll be in there and I'll share my thoughts and talk about the team that I picked and how that's going. But yes, I have confirmed it's at 6 p.m. on Tuesday. So definitely I'm hoping that you will come and join us and come and check that out. It should be a fun conversation and one that is very enjoyable. So definitely, if you get a chance, come and see what I've got to say about fantasy football. Maybe you know some player that I should trade for. So if you know somebody like that, let me know, and maybe I'll pick them up. I think I'm happy with my defense, which is the Baltimore Ravens defense, and my quarterback, which is Tom Brady. But definitely, if you know somebody else that I should have, I would love to hear that. So definitely keep that in mind. And by the way, if you've got other things that you're interested in, just let us know, and we'll just keep things rolling right along. But if there are things that you are concerned about around the world, in your local area, internationally, because we do like to pay attention as we are a global network to what's going on globally as well. So if there are things that you are concerned about, definitely let us know, and we'll pass those on to our folks. And of course, if I've got any solutions, I will try to help you with those solutions. If I don't have any solutions, I know a lot of people that might be in the solution game. So if that's the case, then hopefully you can appear on those things and definitely have an engaging conversation. So hopefully that's one of the things that's going to be happening in the near future. So definitely keep that in mind and keep those thoughts coming. I'm actually going to try to grab me something cold to get this frog out of my throat or whatever is going on here, because it feels like there's a little bit of a scratchiness going on. So in the meantime, I'm going to give y'all some more blues music. That's right. We're going to come back with the blues because I do love the blues sound. So I'm going to give y'all some good old-fashioned blues music. Matter of fact, I think I'll bring on Coco Taylor. And while I grab a cold drink to try to get this frog out of the throat, we'll listen to some Coco Taylor. Coco Taylor is a truly amazing artist. And we'll give y'all a break from Tamara Bubble and go back to the classic Coco Taylor. So that's what we're going to bring y'all right now while I get ready to find something to get the frog out of the throat and see what we can do about that. But in the meantime, we're going to give y'all a little Coco Taylor. I'm going to go get me something cool to drink. Unfortunately, it's not going to be anything that's got any alcohol, but it's probably going to have some sugar in it, so it's probably going to be a soda, and that's probably not as good for me either. But we get ready to have some Coca-Cola while I get ready to go grab this. It's not even going to be a soda. It's going to be a sweet tea, and anybody that knows me know that that's one of those things that I just get too much of. But right now, we're going to give you some Coca-Cola while I go get some sweet tea.
Something told me it was over when I saw you and her talking. Something deep down in my soul say cry when I saw you and her walking in. So you see, I'd rather go blind than to see you walk away from me. Cause you see, I love you so much. And most of all, I just don't want to lose. I was just sitting here thinking about you, baby, about your kiss and your sweet embrace. When the reflection in the glass that I held to my lips reveal the tears that were on my face. So you see, I'd rather go blind than to see you walk away from me. So you see, I love you so much. And most of all, I just don't want to lose you. 'Cause you see, I love you so much. And most of all, I just don't want to lose you. Oh, baby, oh, baby, oh, baby, you feel real hurt, come on over to the place where I was. And all your loneliness, I'll try to soothe. I'll play the blues for you. Don't be afraid. Come on in. You might run across, yeah, some of your old friends. All the loneliness I've got to soothe. I'll play the blues for you. Come on in. Sit right here. Let's rap a while. You see, I'm kind of lonely too. And loneliness is a very bad thing if you let it get the best of you. And loneliness can get you down, you know. Yeah. Are you comfortable now? Yeah. That's a good thing. Yeah. As I was saying before, loneliness can get you down. And I have heard of loneliness blowing some good people's mind, you know? But you can't do that. This is a big world. This is a big world. There's too many nice things happening in this world. You're a very pretty girl. Where you live? No. Disregard that. That's okay. That's the most important thing. I want to know you. I say, I want to know you. Ooh, that's good, baby. I'll play the blues for you. I ain't got no big name. Oh, Lord, and I ain't no big star. I'll play the blues for you on my guitar. All your loneliness, I'm trying to soothe. I'll play the blues for you. Excuse me. Woo.
The legendary Albert King. There's no doubt about that. That was some serious guitar playing and all of that. So glad to have my good buddy Jim Eade in the house with me. We're going to be in the house around this time tomorrow as well, talking about fantasy football and all of that. But thought I'd have him pop on in here and share what we've got going on, because I know that it's just amazing the things that we have happening here on a regular basis. I'm just amazed that we've got over 50 shows that are going on here at IBM.TV. And we just keep growing and growing. I was actually talking to my friend Brian, who's with got a couple of shows on LinkedIn, and I told him about our platform and how he might have to join us. And he said he would love to join us, even though he's a LinkedIn pioneer. So he was on the first show that I did today, the radio show with Marc Lee, and we had a real good conversation because he's all about voicing your vibes and all of that. But I've decided something, Jim. I've decided that everybody in California is using that word tribe, because he kept talking about his tribe and that tribe. And I know our good friend Henning Morales is always talking about his tribe. So I'm beginning to think that all you folks in California have co-opted the word tribe.
Well, Mark, you know, the first time I heard the word, it was a Jewish friend of mine. Uh-huh. He said to someone else, he said, "Oh, you're a member of the tribe," because he found out that his mother was Jewish. So he said, "Oh, so you're one of the tribe." Yeah.
So that's the first time you heard it.
Everybody has a different way of interpreting it.
Yep.
But it means like you're part of my tribe, Mark. You're my brother.
Yep. And that's what it is with Brian, too. I'm part of that tribe, and I'm part of, I guess, Henning's tribe. So, yeah, that's what it means, is we're all like brothers in the spirit, whether it's the IBM spirit or whether it's just the good people spirit. But, yeah, definitely Brian and Tim Sohn, who's appeared on my show as well, and a number of others. So, like I said, even though because of coronavirus, none of us have been able to actually physically see each other, we still consider each other brothers and sisters. So definitely we got some sisters that are part of our family as well. So
they're part of our tribe too. We wouldn't have a tribe without them.
Exactly. Got to have those. Got to have those. Exactly. I told you, when we first started our fantasy football league, I want to say it was one of my brother's close friends who was a lady, and I think she won like maybe 2 or 3 times. And I want to say that when they asked her how she picked her players, I want to say that she said she picked them based on color or something else. I don't think it had anything to do with like trying to figure out who was the best running back, who was the best.
I've heard that before, Mark. It gives me a headache. You get beat by somebody that picked the team by their colors or how their helmets looked. Oh.
Exactly. It's horrible. It is horrible. So I know we'll probably talk about this tomorrow, but who do you have on your team? Like I said, I know I got the Baltimore Ravens. I know I got Tom Brady. I got the guy from New Orleans who I wasn't sure was going to play, but apparently he's off his holdout, so he's actually going to play Alvin Kamara and everything. So
I got him.
You got him?
First pick. He was my first pick. I wanted Barkley, but he was taken right before me.
He was actually, I think he was my first pick because, I grabbed him. I want to say that Brady actually stayed on the field longer than I thought. I think he might have been somewhere in the middle that I got Brady. And then I got the defense because I know that my good buddy Dean Geronimo, who I do usually on Monday evening, I'd be going from the streaming platform to the regular podcast, more of what I consider like the old-fashioned radio-style podcast. But Dean was basically like, you can be crazy if you want to and go ahead and do your streaming stuff on IBM.TV. But in terms of the regular podcast, we're taking the day off. So I am taking the day off from 7 to 9. So he already made that clear that was not happening this evening. So we're having reruns on today. So
okay. But Mark, before we get into fantasy football, which you know I love,
yes.
I just came in towards the end of that music that you were playing, and you mentioned Albert King. Was he known by any other name?
Nope, just Albert King. I mean, there was he was definitely one of the leading guitar players and all of that, and But there are just so many great blues artists that are named King, because there's also Freddie King, but Freddie King is not Albert King, and B.B. King.
I thought he was B.B. King.
Nope, Albert King and B.B. King are two.
B.B. King.
Nope, Albert King and B.B. King. Albert King and B.B. King are two different folks, but definitely I can see where folks would get that confusing. Yeah. And definitely there's Freddie King as well. So there's a number of kings in the blues world. So
and there's some queens too.
There are some queens.
I think I just wanted to make that clear because every IBM TV show on I learned something new.
Right.
And I just learned that was not B.B. King. That was Albert King.
Albert King.
Because when I saw his face smiling like that, playing his guitar, I just pictured B.B. King in my head. Because I saw him in Berkeley.
Oh, you saw B.B. King in Berkeley? I never saw B.B. King perform. I did see him and met him at an event. Unfortunately, I did not go to the concert where he was playing, and this was before his past and everything. So I missed seeing him perform, but I did see him in person. So I did meet him, met some of his musicians, but I never got a chance to actually see him perform, at least not that I can recall. But, I'm a big fan, and he's still playing and still up there in age like BB, but I'm a big fan of Buddy Guy, and Buddy Guy is just amazing. I did not play any Buddy Guy this time, but Buddy Guy's got, I won't say Buddy might be pushing near 80, if not already at 80, and he just travels. I mean, when he hits the floor or the stage or the Coliseum, he just got this incredible energy. You're sitting there going is that man 20 or 30? No, he can't be as old as he is, but
ageless,
exactly.
Ageless enthusiasm and ageless energy, and and it was like I can't do B.B. King, but it was something like hey 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 hey. Do you remember that? I
do remember that.
That was my best impression of him. I can't do better.
Well, just to let you know that you were not the only one that was confused, because I was just actually looking up stuff while you were talking, but both Albert and Riley, that's BB's real name, Riley B.B. King, were born in the same town. They were born in Indianola, Mississippi, in the heart of the Delta. Albert was born in 1923 and BB in 1925. Freddie, the other king, was born in 1934 in Gilmore, Texas, and was known as Freddie Christian. And Albert was born with the surname Nelson, which didn't change until later on in his career. So definitely those are all just amazing
Delta Blues
guitarists.
Oh, my goodness.
Yep.
Yeah. But as far as fantasy football, the show starts at 6 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. And, I did my draft yesterday. So I am primed. I have all the knowledge that I could get ready to take my draft Sunday. So I think the show will be great. And
it should be great.
Christian McCaffrey was the number one pick. Sean Barkley was the second. And I picked third. So I picked Kamala.
All right.
And the reason is because Ezekiel Elliott was still available. But I will never pick a Cowboy as long as Jerry Jones owns that team.
So you just can't get with that.
I can't pick a Cowboy. I don't care how good they are.
So you're not going to pick a Cowboy. Well, I used to think that. I'm trying to think if there's a player or a team that I'm like that about. I just can't get behind picking their players. And I can't think of a coach that I absolutely hate that much. But Jerry would probably be close because I'm not a big Jerry Jones fan either.
Yeah, Daniel Snyder is up there too.
Washington. Oh, yeah. Yep, definitely. And what was the one that snuck off with his team? he left in the middle of the night in
the Baltimore Colts went to Indiana?
Indianapolis. But I'm trying to think of who the owner was at that time when they went.
Oh, I don't recall. Oh, yeah, that should be a name that lives in infamy, but we've both forgotten it.
Yeah, we both forgot it probably because we live in infamy and all of that fun stuff. But yeah, it was just a shame that you got those folks. And I'm trying to remember
how would you like to live in Baltimore, or how would you like to live in Oakland, which I lived in for several years? That's where I saw B.B. King. But Oakland went to Los Angeles, and then they came back. We were so happy. Now they're in Las Vegas.
I know. I'm trying to even picture professional football in Las Vegas.
I can't do it. I know it's going to happen, but I just can't get it in my head.
Well, not only that, but surprisingly, they are doing well in professional sports because didn't they win the NHL last year, and they're still threatening this year?
I can't swear to that.
I won't look it up and everything, but it seems to me that they either won or they were in the. I know they were in the hunt, and I know they're in the hunt again this year. So I can't remember if they won or if they lost last year in 2019. But definitely, I'm sitting there going I just can't get with sports in Vegas. I'm going it's such a gambling town, and I know that that's part of sports, but at the same time, having the fans there, I've had guests that are from Vegas, and they talk about how there's some serious poverty in Vegas. I mean, there's serious poverty in other places that have leagues as well, but there's just something.
You had a guest from Las Vegas, and he was about to transition away. Yes. Has he moved or?
He actually was on another friend's show yesterday, and I think he's leaving today because last night when he was on my friend Tree's show was his last night in Vegas. So I want to say that he might actually be. I'm not sure because I don't know if he drives, but he's either driving or being driven across. So the leaving day, the departure day is today. So hopefully by this evening or tomorrow, he will actually be in New Jersey, right? Because he wasn't.
Not only can I not see football in Las Vegas, I can't see hockey there either.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Hockey in Tampa Bay. Sorry to say.
But can you see where we are? Because we actually had a contender as well. We did not win it, I don't think, but there is hockey in the Carolinas in Raleigh, one town over from me, and it took me a minute to get used to that. But we did have minor league hockey before the major league hockey came here, and they've been here now for a while.
Yeah. Well, Carolina can play football.
Yes.
You got some good college teams.
We got some good college teams.
And the Panthers almost made it one year.
Yep.
Yeah. So
we've done well in that. We've not done bad in that at all. Now, are you following? Because they're all knotted up. I know it's not fantasy football, but have you been following the any of the playoffs, whether it's the NHL or the NBA? Because the NBA is going on right now, and surprisingly, I want to say baseball is about to start in September as well. So we might have 3 championships at the same time because of the abbreviated seasons.
Right. Yeah, baseball is a 60-game schedule, and are you kidding me? Baseball is 162 games. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. This is such a weird year, 2020. I can't wait for it to be over.
That makes 2 of us. I'm sitting there going but the scary thing is that if 2019 was so, 2020 has been I think a lot of people might even consider it a disaster. But that being said, that means that is 2021 going to be better, or is it going to be about the same?
Well, I don't think things go, all in one direction. So if it starts out so and is now very bad, I don't think that means that 2021 is going to be terrible. I just think it's you have to play it one day at a time, one game at a time, and see what happens. 2020 can turn around. I'm not optimistic about it turning around, but, I'm taking every day as it comes. So maybe today is going to be the best day of 2020.
Let's hope so. The things will improve. Things will get. Hopefully, we'll get somebody out of office that doesn't need to be in office. So hopefully, we can have a lot of positive changes toward the end of 2020.
Maybe
What'd you say? And by the
I
way,
don't want to get started on that.
last year's champion, so they must have beat Vegas because last year's champion was the St. Louis Blues. And,
yeah, that's what I. Yeah.
Yeah, so they won, and then the year before that, 2018, was the Capitals, and then Pittsburgh won 2 years in a row in 2016 and 2017. But, yeah, it looks like they won last year with St. Louis. But I think that it was Vegas that they defeated because I want to say Vegas might have been the runner-up in last year's. But I know they were definitely in the running, and I know that they have won at least one more round because they won like a series that I might have gone to 7.
Pittsburgh is a hockey town, as is Philadelphia. And, they probably had the best player. And, we were talking the other day about Edmonton and the great Gretzky. And, sometimes a guy like that can elevate everyone around him. Of course, he had great teammates. That's not to say that he did it all by himself. But when you have somebody that fabulous, your chances go up. So I just think that, when I grew up watching hockey, the Philadelphia Flyers were the team that everybody hated because they were so good and so bad at the same time. I wish Lynn, our sponsor, was on so I can tweak him about that.
Yeah, because they were just hating them left and right. I know how that is.
Yeah.
You're sitting there going like, I cannot stand this team. They're just horrible. But that's how I feel about my brother's favorite team and also a close friend's favorite team. Because like I said, I'm a diehard Vikings fan when it comes to fantasy football, even though I did not have any Vikings players on my team this year. But I'm a diehard Vikings fan. And my brother is a Bears fan. And I got a very dear friend that's a Packers fan. So
can't be in the same room on Sundays.
It really hurts because, like I said, if we're in the same room, that's going to be just one big argument. And then I've got some friends. I've actually got don't get mad at me, but I've actually got an aunt who roots for the Dallas Cowboys.
Ooh, yeah. Well, I don't mind anyone rooting for him because once you got your team, it's your team.
Yeah.
But I got a big beef with that owner. I just think he's all about himself and he's not about the team. And anybody like that just rubs me the wrong way.
No, I agree with you. He's all about the team and, all about himself and not necessarily about the team. I wish we could have more owners. And like I said, he's another one that gave my team fits in the past, but they did get past them. But from what I've heard of Mark Cuban, he actually seems to be an owner that cares about his players, cares about his teams. And even though he's got money, he definitely seems to be concerned. And I would even say the same, not so much the last owner. He was, that bad word that we don't want to say, but the past owner of the Clippers was horrible. But Steve Ballmer seems to be another one of those that seems to be concerned about his players, his coach, and everything else. So I do think we've got some good folks out there and everything.
Absolutely.
I'm kind of torn, though, on one of those NBA series because on the one hand, I would love to see Jimmy Butler and Jay Crowder, to my Marquette guys, win the next round by going ahead and winning that series against Milwaukee. But Marquette's in Milwaukee and I got Wes Matthews, who's also a Marquette guy as well. So, and no team has ever come back from 3-0. I think the record was I want to say it was 169-0. So definitely was I don't even think they had won game 4 based on some of the things that I was hearing on some of the sports channels. And I'm sitting there going maybe they could be the first one to ever come back. But then at the same time, I like Jimmy Butler and I like Jay Crowder. So I'm actually thinking that tomorrow the series is over. I think they got their one win and they're done. So
I think so too. Yeah. Butler has done everything you could ask of him.
Oh, yeah. He's just amazing. He's an amazing player. And like I said, I think Doc's getting everything he can out of the Clippers, and they just are loaded. So, but what's his name? Denver is not going to roll over. Denver is not going to roll over. So I think that I was actually went to a restaurant yesterday and just saw some strangers. I didn't even know these guys. But I was telling them that I think that the Lakers series that they're in, I think Houston's going to run out of gas. And I think we saw that a little bit yesterday. So that series might go 6. But the Clippers-Denver series, I can see that going 7. And to be perfectly honest, I could even see the Houston-Lakers series going 7 because Harden is just a beast. He's by himself. He can carry a team by himself.
He never runs out of energy either. Nope. I don't care if it goes 7 games, if he has to play every minute of it. The guy will do it if he has to.
he's just truly amazing that way. So, like I said, I think that I was just surprised that they won that first game against the Lakers, but then the Lakers came back and won. But, they almost lost that game, too, because they had a big lead, and then they were down by 9 to Houston, and then I think Houston's leg ran out on them, and they couldn't hit those shots. So, like I said, that series
That's the hard thing about coming back from a big deficit is you expend so much energy to get back in the game, and then you're spent.
You're spent, yep.
Yeah.
And if you don't get over that hill and keep it over that hill or call those timeouts successfully, by the time you catch up or even pass the team, once they get you, they've got you, and there's not much you can do about it. The key is
never get down by that far.
Right. That is
then you don't have to spend all that energy coming back.
That's right. So did you win the championship in fantasy last year? Or is this going to be?
I did win last year. Thank you for bringing that up. Okay. I rode McCaffrey from Carolina and Lamar Jackson from Baltimore.
Oh, yeah. Well, those are two great running backs. You can't beat running them.
I had both of them, and Lamar Jackson was the second quarterback I picked. I picked the guy from Houston, too.
Oh, wow.
I picked him first, and then Lamar Jackson second, because everybody's saying running quarterbacks, they won't stay healthy the whole year. He did.
He did. Stayed healthy the whole year. Wow. Now, did you do a lot of trade during the season, or did you pretty much keep your lineup the same the entirety and just shift your lineups, or did you make some serious trades? Because I know in our league, one guy, he just is notorious for making trades left and right and for doing drops and picking up players based on what's going on in the season. So from the team you drafted last year to the one that won, how much of it was the same as you recall?
Well, the league that I play in, and I play with a chess master friend of mine who we met in San Jose, and he was one of those guys. When I beat him, he was polite. Okay. And chess masters, when they lose, they sometimes want to show you where they went wrong, and they could have crushed you if they had done this or that, and so they can be a little obnoxious when they lose. But this guy was polite. And so he was part of my wedding party, and then he went on a missionary to Korea, and then he moved back to Montana, and then now he's in Missouri. So I see him every once in a great while, but we've stayed since the early '80s playing fantasy football. Oh, wow. And in this league, we don't have trades, but we have a waiver wire. Okay. So you can drop somebody and add somebody who's available, but nobody is on anybody else's team. Mm. And that's critical to how you use the waiver wire, because injuries are part of the game.
Because we added something new this year, and I'm actually going to pull up so I can remember what it's called. But we added something new this year, which is basically almost like a waiver wire, but it's basically because of the coronavirus. So because of the coronavirus and because of the fact that some people may have to sit out a game and everything, they actually added something new that we've never had before. So, like I said, I'm going to see what we're calling this thing and everything. We added a taxi squad for the first year because we never had taxi squads before. But because of coronavirus and the fact that some people may, get diagnosed with the virus and have to sit out a game, we actually have the ability to pick up players as part of the taxi squad. So that's something that we've never had before, and the league's been around for a number of years. And I don't know if you have a taxi squad in your league, but we have never had a taxi squad.
Way back, because that's an old school term, taxi squad.
Right.
That's when you sent a taxi to go get a player you needed because somebody got hurt.
Yep. Matter of fact, what Randy, our commissioner, wrote says, Tuffa generally does not use an IR or taxi squad because of the coronavirus and the possibility that the players might be quarantined at a moment's notice by the NFL. We are utilizing a taxi squad this year. This way, if your players are placed on the NFL coronavirus reserve quarantine list, you do not have to cut that player to pick up a replacement. The only players that are allowed on the list are players the NFL has quarantined because of the coronavirus. This is not for you to staff players regularly with regular injuries.
Right.
So you made that very clear that don't be trying to trick us. So this is only for players that have been placed on the coronavirus lists.
Yeah, because that's actually a great idea. And, I wish we had that because, that's so out of your control. Injuries are always out of your control. in my league, we'd have to drop the player.
Wow.
In order to add a replacement. Or if it's just like one game, you just write it out. You bench them and you play somebody else, which is what you have to do when someone gets a concussion, someone, tweaks something, but he's not gonna miss the season. He's just gonna be out for a couple of days or a week or 2 weeks. You don't want to let him go because he's gonna come back and be great. So you just keep him on your roster. You just bench him until he gets better. But if someone's got a career or year-ending injury, you have to cut him and waive some and pick up someone from the waiver wires.
Yep, definitely.
But the other thing what is great for this year, and for this year alone, hopefully this doesn't extend into 2021. But this is a great innovation. Whoever thought of it? I like it.
I think Randy came up with that. Like I said, he's been our commissioner ever since my brother Malik brought me into the league. And I want to say they did a story even before I joined. And I want to say the league might be going on 20 plus years in existence because it's been around for a while. And a lot of the guys are the same. I mean, there might have been some folks that have moved or dropped, but we still have a lot of the core guys that have been in there the whole time. I know my brother's been there the whole time. Randy, our commissioner, has been there the whole time. And there are a number of other guys that have been in the league the whole time. So like I said, I remember before I even got on the league, there was a article about it in our local paper, and they had a picture of my brother and some of the guys because it was like when fantasy football was first becoming popular. So I need to dig up that article and see if I can find it or if my brother's got a copy of it. But
I'm sure he does.
Yeah, I'm sure he does. Somewhere in the house is a copy of that article for sure. And I know my aunt, because she's kind of the keeper of the records, and he doesn't have it. I know my aunt, who's a kind of a keeper of the family records, she's definitely got it. Now, did you get a letter from your commissioner, or maybe you're the commissioner, but did you get a letter from your commissioner explaining like the rules of the season? Because I got like this, it looked like, I know we tease Nick because Nick's a lawyer and Bill Transband is a lawyer as well. So we got a number of lawyers on our team at IBM.TV. But I'm telling you, the letter I got must have been written by a lawyer. And I think we might have a couple of lawyers in our league, but Randy is not a lawyer. But it was basically like your contingency plan. Just like if the season makes it to the first 3 weeks, well, you're kind of out of luck because there's not going to be any money exchanged at all. Right. But if we make it to like week 4, 5, 6, maybe you'll get a quarter or a half. And by the time you got to, I want to say it was maybe the 10-week mark or like pretty much the season being over, whether we got the playoffs or not, then you would be able to collect your money pretty much in its entirety. But I mean, it was so many contingencies. I know it had to have been at least 5 or 6 contingencies based on what's going to happen with the league.
Well, Mark, I don't want to put you on the spot, but, you're so interested in fantasy football. Would you like to be on the show tomorrow?
I would love to be on the show tomorrow. So definitely I will come and join you tomorrow, and I will definitely come and see what kind of we can talk about with fantasy football and things of that nature. Because that's what we do. I love putting people on the spot, just like it. And you can put me on the spot anytime. I actually put Brian on the spot earlier today because, like I said, Brian, who was my guest on the other show that I do on Monday nights, the radio show with Marc Lee, I had put him on the spot because he is a LinkedIn influencer. And as you know from when we broadcast, we're not even LinkedIn influencers yet because we don't get to like broadcast to LinkedIn. So he actually broadcasts to LinkedIn. He's one of, they're in beta stage. So he's one of only about 50 out of like some umpteen million. So maybe 500, but whatever the number is, it's a very minute amount compared to how many are out there in LinkedIn. So I'm trying to get him to help us get there, meaning IBM TV, but I'm also trying to recruit him to come to our family. And he said he might be interested in that because he's got 2 great shows. One is called What's Up Wednesday, and then that's where they do one of those, they do social distancing. So he was tired of people talking about social distancing. So he does, well, you can call him up and then he'll like, you can dance in your chair. You can dance how you feel like it, but he'll find out things that are going out. And the other one he does is shout out Saturdays. But the social distancing is just so fun. I've been on there a couple of times. You put on you tell them what's going on in your life. You put on your music, and it can be any classic. I mean, I've heard everything from rock to, of course, classics like Michael Jackson and Prince to old R&B to whatever folks feel like dancing to. And it's just wild. And like I said, you see folks in their chairs just rocking and things of that nature. So it's just
you can have rhythm as long as we're sitting down.
Exactly. But yeah, Brian has a good time with that. Brian and my friend Tim Sohn. So they were sitting there just having an engaging conversation. But Brian's just a real positive energy guy. You'll be glad to know he's a fellow Californian of yours, because I think he's out of Sacramento. So he's definitely a fellow Californian. And
the poor guy. It's got to be so hot there right now because it's 100 degrees here.
Yeah, he said it was hot. I think he said they got it to like 110 or something like that. Yeah. It was crazy.
I don't doubt it. They're always hotter than it is where I live.
Wow.
And if it's this hot here, it has to be just scorching where he is.
Yeah, he said it was real hot there, but like I said, he's doing some really powerful things. He's doing a women's conference because he's all about trying to empower people, whether it's women, whether it's Black Lives Matter. So he's doing a women's conference where he'll be the keynote speaker, but he's like a major leader in the internet world and a digital marketing master. So like I said, I told him to pop up. So I'm excited to see if he was into fantasy, but I don't think he is. But he's definitely a former Laker and Clipper fan, and he actually dealt with some illnesses, and I know you've had some stuff that you've dealt with. But he, as a young child, apparently he was not even supposed to be born because he was like almost like a very small baby, like almost like the kind that they did not think he would even survive. And make it at all. And then he was
probably on an incubator or something like that.
All of that. And then he was also a Tourette survivor. So he's got like those Tourette's twitches and all of that he still has. But he used all of that and uses that to become a positive person and a positive thinker. So that's part of what he was talking about. Yep. And he was very much a true inspiration. He inspires me every time I see him on the show. I'll have to send you the link one day because literally the way they do it is you pop on for about, not like my show or some of our shows where you might pop on for an hour, but you pop on for about 5 minutes. They see how you're doing. Then you dance and then you're gone. So like I said, they do a more quick in and out kind of format, but it's real fun. So I have to send you a link and we'll see if you can't get your social distancing on as well.
Yeah, I am ready. Bring it on.
I'm going to tell Brian to chill. They sent me a note earlier today, so I'm going to write them back. I'll be like, my man Jim said he's ready to come on social distancing maybe this Wednesday or this Saturday.
Hey, I have very little shame left. I can embarrass myself in front of anybody.
Like I said, no, you've been very open about things and no shame. I mean, you actually even startled me one time because I remember one time on one of our shows, you were sharing your story and some of the things that you've been through, and you actually, revealed what's underneath the hat. And I'm sitting there going like, I can't believe Jim just did that. But like I said, no shame. Don't care that you got the bald head and everything.
I think fear and shame are the lowest vibrations, and I want to vibrate on a higher frequency. So, I just don't let it rule my life anymore.
And that's what none of us should do. And that's part of what Brian was talking about, was that we don't need to have those kind of like fears. We need to have those positive thoughts and positive attitudes and not let fears dictate our thing. Definitely. And that's the kind of energy that I love. I know that that's what our friend Zach is always talking about, is trying to have that positive energy. Of course, Alexandria is always talking to Dad and Coach Camara. So a lot of people here in our family are always preaching that positive vibe. And that's what it's all about here on IBM TV, but also on some of our allies. Because like I said, even though we've got our platform, I do think that we've got some great allies, because I know y'all have heard me talk about Sri and his Digiminus group, and now you hear me talk about Brian and his group. So as far as I'm concerned, they're just ally groups. So like I said, we've got our family, but we also have ally families as well.
I agree. And, I think from what you said about Brian, he's not like you and me, is he? He's a little bit younger.
Yeah, a little bit younger. Not a lot younger, but he does have, I won't say he's maybe in his, and I'm horrible at guessing people's age, but he's actually got 2 kids that are, one is a sophomore in college and the other one is a rising junior. So I'm thinking definitely not in his late 50s or 60s or 70s, which would be our age range, but I am thinking he's in his early to mid 40s. So he's definitely not a spring chicken either. So
sure. But if he's on to this digital age, it's I got a little bit too old for that. when all this stuff happened with this Twitch and this, Twitch. What's that? It's like something I do like that. To Twitch. And no, it's a broadcast medium.
It's a broadcast medium, exactly. But no, I think he's probably close to Jacoby's age. So yeah, they all came on it. But the scary thing is when you talk to these folks, whether you talk to Brian or whether you talk to Jacoby, which I know we talk to every Thursday and everything on a regular basis. But when you talk to these guys, they're talking about the way that we used to talk about hip hop, or the way we used to talk about like R&B and old rock and things of that nature, because they're talking about like these mediums, and when they add the mediums, then you realize we're getting old, Jim. We're getting really old, because they're sitting there, they're going like, when I came, because I remember Brian was even like, when I came in at the beginning of LinkedIn, and LinkedIn's like 21, 22 years old, and I'm sitting there going like, wait a minute, that means that it just makes us feel even older, because if you think about it, that's a pretty decent amount of time. We're talking 2 or 3 decades that LinkedIn has been around, or the same
years,
like Facebook.
20 years, you're still in the 21st century, and we're still relating to the 20th.
Right. Exactly. I'm sitting there when he's talking about this. He's like, I've been doing this for 21, 25 years or whatever, and I'm going like, whoa, wait a minute. That means that when you were doing that, I was in my early 30s. Okay. This is too confusing. Early, mid-30s. This is too confusing. So it really makes you appreciate what's going on in the world, but also start feeling your age when these folks that are definitely a little bit younger than us, I mean, they're just now hitting, because I think I would be considered toward not the back end, but maybe the middle end of what they consider middle age. But definitely 40s is considered to a lot of people middle age. So they're at the beginning of what would be considered middle age. And then you're sitting there going like, wow. So they're at the beginning. I'm in the middle or toward the end of it, and almost pushing near what some people might consider elderly. But you'll get a kick out of this, and I got to share this with you. You'll just love it, as will our listeners. But I was, speaking of Tree, I was watching his show, and he has these positivity messages that he does on Sunday. So he'll bring in a guest, try to share something of a positive nature. And he had this woman on from California as well, Diane Levine, I think is her name. But she's in San Mateo County in the health department. And some people were writing, and they were talking about the same thing we're talking about, aging, and how you're impacted by the age and everything. And they were talking about how they felt old, because they were talking about like music or something. And they're talking about how they felt old. And in my comment back to them, I said, I'm 58 and I'm not claiming old. Y'all can claim it y'all old if y'all want to at 50, but I'm not claiming old. I'm 58 and I'm not claiming old. Now, if y'all want to claim old at 58, at 50,
maybe late middle age. You're still middle age.
Yep.
They say 60 is the new 40. But I live in San Mateo County, by the way. Okay. So yeah, and so she and I can't be very far apart. But I want to tell you this one story that would really shock me. Is that I was getting my hair cut back when I had hair. And they had two hairdressers talking to each other, and one of them said, I'm sorry, I almost blew the story, but Venus and Mars was playing on the radio. Venus and Mars was for Paul McCartney and the Wings.
Right.
And she said, wasn't Paul McCartney in a band before Wings? And I almost died.
Oh, wow.
I just couldn't believe it. Paul McCartney and the Wings is all she knows Paul McCartney from.
Did not know the rest of Paul McCartney's history or any of this. That is very scary. and the way she phrased it, wasn't he in a band before the Wings?
Before the Wings, yeah.
Before the Wings.
So, that was the first time I felt old. That was the very first time I felt old. And I was in my 30s, I think. Maybe I must have been in my 30s. And so it was like I could not believe someone would say something like that. And she was old enough to cut my hair.
Well, just to let you know, the ladies, and like I said, I'm trying to get her onto our platform. So hopefully whenever I get her, I'll be sure to have you as well, because she did say that she might be interested in coming. But Diana Rohini Levine is actually the person that oversees your county's health department. So she oversees San Mateo County Health Communications. So any communications that you get from them, because it's communication to residents, commuters, staff, partners, and the press, she's in charge of that. So if you get a press release about anything to do with health, that's
Can I tell her I know Mark Lee?
You can tell her you know me, for sure.
Okay. Then I'd be smooth sailing through the health system.
Yeah, smooth sailing through the health system, because definitely she knows who I am. We follow a couple of shows together and everything, so she will know who I am, and now you know who she is. But she is right there in your county, and she is the PR person for that county. We were actually having a running joke on the show and everything, because they were her husband was on. I think they've been married for about 20 or 21 years. He was like a special guest, surprise person that appeared on her show yesterday. And when he appeared, then they were talking about the Newlywed Game and how it would be great to have a new version of the Newlywed Game. And me being the single person, I was like, I'm not too sure about that, because, you know, us single folks will feel left out or something along that lines. And she was basically like, well, we could create a new version of the Newlywed Game where I hook up or the married people hook up the dating people with successful folks. So that was her idea, was to actually try to create this new system of the old dating game or something along those lines. So she was having a good time and got that same kind of spirit that you have, that Brian has, that a number of folks have, that I deal with on a regular basis. So it was just hilarious hearing those comments and just like saying, oh, I'm not sure about that game. That game might not go over too well. It might be a losing proposition.
The dating tip of the universe for your listeners. And it's like, if you're a young male or even a middle-aged male that has not been married or is between marriages, whatever, get a puppy.
That actually could work. I can see that. A puppy.
Oh my goodness. I got a yellow lab puppy, and women way out of my league were coming over and petting my dog and talking to me and petting my dog. This is the best tip. And I waited until I got married before I learned this. So it was no use to me.
It did you absolutely no good, did it? You sitting there going like, I should have learned this a long time ago. I
thought of that 10 years earlier.
You were sitting there going like, why did I learn this at another time instead of now?
Yeah,
because you're going like, that did not help me in the least bit.
I could have used a puppy.
So you could have used a puppy back then, and but instead you got no puppy and no love. So like I said, that's just wrong that you did not get the puppy or the love and everything. That's just wrong on so many levels. And
those ladies would see me and they'd make a right turn real fast, walk away. But if I had a puppy, they came right up to me.
They're like, there's the old man. He's got the puppy. And now you find out that the puppy actually had a purpose. And you did not know that the puppy had a purpose. That's wrong on so many levels.
No shame on me, Mark.
But, you know, you say that, but I remember definitely folks would always say that about women and their puppets and everything, because you would find folks that would say things about their puppy and what the puppy meant to them and all of that. So definitely I can agree with you on that, folks, because even now you find folks that would get their women who have their puppies or their whatever the pet might be. I've even seen people walk with their stray cats and things of that nature, and then, well, not stray cats, but cats on a leash. And folks are just amazed by pets. So when they find those pets, it's just like they're like drawn to them. So I agree.
Well, Mark, what about a lady that was walking her lion?
Oh, yes. That was walking the lion around Paris. That was a famous historical person. And like I was telling Brian, I'm going to have to come up with some easier folks, because I've given y'all 4 clues, and except for because he couldn't technically get it because he was on the show. But you remember that the Las Vegas guy did remember one of the 2 from the 2 weeks ago. So not last week, but 2 weeks ago, he remembered one of the 2. But technically speaking, he was a guest, so he couldn't be a contestant. So, but I might bend those rules. But technically speaking, he couldn't win. But that being said, nobody won last week. Nobody figured out Miss Durant, who was the lady that was a feminist and had the pet lion named Tiger, and nobody figured out John Carlos, the man of the fist. I really thought folks were going to get John Carlos, but nobody figured out John Carlos, who was the 1968 Olympic Mexican competitor that gave the Black Power salute. So that one surprised me. I thought
you must have been getting bad clues, Mark.
I said 1967 Pan American Game winner. If somebody wins the Pan American Game, then you ought to think the 68 Olympics is the next one. So I think I gave some good clues, but I'm gonna give some more obvious clues. What you want? Like maybe I'll give them Muhammad Ali or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and mention like the Lakers or mention something.
Give us a softball, Mark, because I'm tired of swinging and missing.
I'm tired of y'all swinging and missing. So I'll promise you this week, this Wednesday, there will be. I think I'll make it the American one. I won't make it the international one, but at least the American one will be a softball. And I'll try to pick out a softball from either the world of sports or the world of entertainment. I was thinking the world of crime, and I did have a world of crime person already in mind, and there ain't that many bad guys in crime. Y'all should be able to figure out the world of crime. So I think I'm going to keep it to the world of crime, but it's going to be a softball.
Who was the one that started out protesting on the bus and then moved to Carolina?
That was Paulie Murray. Paulie Murray. A lot of folks thought that was the one that everybody knows, Rosa Parks.
That's what I guess.
It was actually Paula Murray, and Paula Murray has got a statue of her, I think at Yale, and she's definitely got her own house here in Durham. So I'm surprised that some of my Durham people didn't catch on that, and definitely East Coast people, because I definitely had some clues that I thought my historian friends would pick up on, but they did not. Just to let you know, as we're winding down and everything, but what Diane wrote me, what I wrote Diane was, I was praising her and her husband, and I was saying it could be like a new version of the Newlywed Games. The longer than the Newlywed Game, that's what I called it. I called it the longer than Newlywed Games. And of course, that means you would have to have a dating game for the single fans of yours like me. And what she wrote back was that she wanted to play basically matchmaker. So she was like saying that I can help you out in that category, because she was praising her history of being a matchmaker, because I was teasing them and saying that they needed to create their own version of the longer than Newlywed Games. Because if you remember the Newlywed Games, it was always very it just been a fairly short time. But Diane, who's over there in your county, said maybe it could be a reality show where married couples vet suitors for single folks looking to couple. Then we can work together on it. Not to brag, but I think I brought together at least 3 couples who are happily married for life now. So that's what she's thinking is going to be the new version of the new game. So
I needed all the help I could get. I needed a lot of help. So I would be on that game in a second. But
I know that's right. I love her quote as well. She said that love comes, because I was talking about 58, and she says, love comes out at all ages. I don't think 58 is hopeless at all. You are aged like fine wine. So I'll take that compliment from your San Mote person. So
hey, Mark, have you ever seen a show called Whose Line Is It Anyway?
I love that show. I haven't seen it recently.
They do a riff on the dating game. You ever see one of those skits that they do?
I've seen a riff on the dating game.
That is just hysterical what they do with that. Because they have this guy, they all have to assume characters, and then they act out the character, and the person has to guess who it is. And it's like, it's so funny. But the dating game was on for a long time.
Oh, yeah. A lot of those games were on for a long time. I mean,
yeah.
Let's Make a Deal was on for a long time.
Forever.
I mean, there are new versions of some of these games now, but Family Feud was on for a long time. Because Let's Make a Deal was on. I'm trying to think if Let's Make a Deal ever took a break, because I know they've had different hosts, but Let's Make a Deal wasn't it in the 50s, and we're in 2020? Because I remember there was an episode of Happy Days or something like that, and I thought they were on Let's Make a Deal. So the original version might have been when TV first came on. So, like I said, that would make it almost 70 years old, and that's hard to believe. But but I am thinking that they might have been around since at least the 60s, or definitely before.
Yeah, definitely in the 60s. Definitely. Yep. Monty Hall was a regular.
Right, that's what I'm thinking. So even if it wasn't the 50s, if we're talking the 60s, and this is 2020, that would be a game show that's been on for 60 years. But so I think some of those soap operas have been on that long as well. If you think about some of those
Days of Our Lives.
Days of Our Lives.
Not that I've ever seen it, but
I don't watch that stuff. But
daytime TV.
Yeah, daytime
Unless
TV.
It's a sports game, then I'll watch it.
Then we'll watch it. Definitely. I did promise a friend of mine that I was going to mention something that he's got going on, so I'm going to do that really quickly and then wrap everything up. But definitely glad to talk sports, and I will be glad to have you on as well. But I told my friend Dante Strabano, and I know that the organizers are always doing stuff all over the country and everything of that nature. So Dante Strabano is letting me know about a organized strike that is taking place in Virginia Beach. So on trash is what we do. It's not who we are, according to Red McClenny, and he's one of the sanitation workers over there. But on August 19th, over 100 sanitation workers in the city of Virginia Beach shut down work for the day. They refused to load onto their trucks, demanding hazard pay. Amidst this global COVID-19 pandemic, essential workers everywhere deserve to be paid for risking their lives to come to work. And I definitely cannot argue with that. They then packed City Hall, spoke out, and won the $1,500 hazard pay bonus, but there is still so much more than they deserve. So they definitely won some money that they need, but it definitely is probably not nearly enough for the kind of work that they're doing. So that was definitely a historical moment. There was both a strike and a change in the law in Virginia that allowed city workers to collectively bargain starting in May of 2021. And this is an opportunity for public workers in North Carolina and Virginia that they've never had and was taken away during the Jim Crow era. So,
and what day is today?
Today is the 7th of September, Labor Day. So
Labor Day,
what's going on. I talked about the history of Labor Day, and UE has been undergoing, that's the organization that was involved in this, has been undergoing new strategies of pre-majority unionism across North Carolina and Virginia for over 20 years, but now needs the support of the movement to garner resources to organize the municipal workers in Virginia.
Collective bargaining.
Across the state. So
collective bargaining gives you power.
Yep, and that's what they're all about, is the collective bargaining and making sure of what's going on. So definitely that's what's going on, and I'm glad to be able to share that with our listeners and everything. I'm going to see if I can put this on our banner going across so that folks can see about the GoFundMe page and everything. So I'm actually going to put that down, and folks can add that to things that they
have to make me write it down, Mark.
Yep. Well, I'm going to put it on the banner, and of course, it'll run across the banner as well. So definitely, you can go back and watch it, and don't have to write it down right now. So that might be a little bit too quick for anybody to do. So definitely see what we can do. As long as it's going like, I can't write that fast, so that's just impossible. There you go. Definitely just go back there and check that out. And if you copy that link and everything, that will take you to what's going on and how you can be involved as well. So definitely that's a long thing. But I think if you just go to that first part, you should be okay. Definitely go in there and check out what they've got going on. But they're definitely trying to support
Good for them.
And on Labor Day, we definitely need to have that kind of activity. So Dante is a longtime friend. He's actually appeared on our evening podcast, which I would usually be doing on a Monday, but we did take Labor Day off, so I won't have that one. And I am talking to Dante about appearing here with us. So hopefully he'll be coming in the not too distant future and can share some of these great victories that they have won and some of the ones that they are trying to win. So definitely want to thank you for being on and everything. I'm going to change this banner just slightly because our ambassador is hiding in another one of the banner rooms. So you'll see that we've got Spiritual Saturday going on, and that goes on with Tish Oakley on Saturday. So definitely, if you're not familiar with that show, check it out. It is an amazing show. Tish always is planting some very positive seeds, some very amazing encouragement. So definitely get a chance. Check that out on Saturday at 1 p.m. Because like I said, we just got all kinds of great programming. Nick and Kim and the rest of the gang, Ankit and them, tell me that we're going to have 100, and I'm thinking it might be 100 plus by the end of this year. So
I'm tired thinking about it.
I'm with you on that. Oh, by the way, the folks, Brian as well as Tim, love the ambassador when I played that at the end of the show at 3:45. They just fell in love with Ankit's daughter, and they fell in love with Raggedy Ann, because as a matter of fact, if you notice, she's got a Raggedy Ann doll with her. So they fell in love with her as well. So, you know, I think that she might be beating us in the fan category. We're going to have to talk Megan about this, because I'm getting a little upset, because I think that she is becoming the real star of this whole thing. And she only pops in for like literally a few seconds here and there. So I think we got to.
And we're on for hours, and we're working so hard, and she comes on all.
Yes. We're going to have to negotiate some stuff with Aiken and the rest of the team because this is not fair. She is becoming the new #1 star of IBM.TV.
She gets me every time, Mark, so she deserves what she gets.
Definitely, I agree. She gets me every time as well.
कोरोना वायरस से कैसे बचेंगे? हैंड होकर और ऐसे अपने खांसी जब आएगी तो ऐसे करेंगे अच्छू अच्छू और कोरोना वायरस को धन्यवाद हमारा म्यूजिक सुनने का.
Gets me every time, just like you. We're going to have to put on the little thing about IBM TV, and then that'll wrap everything up.
Mark, we're shooting for #2 because she's got us.
Yep, no doubt about that. We got